All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Oh, whoa. Party! Big shout out to the replay gang. Thanks so much for coming back to watch this, guys. Even though you missed the live party, that is the best part. The best part. Oh my God. Struggle streaming today. Make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com, the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. We got Dietrich's in the building. We got Guamtech in the building. What is good? Welcome, my friends. We have an interesting show for you tonight. As you saw from the thumbnail, our boy Ron DeSantis, or whatever you want to call him, is back in the hot seat. And maybe for the better. We all know how he has not had a very strong campaign thus far. But we do have to remember that, number one, before all of this, he was the guy. And we still have an entire year before the election happens. So he was on with PBD, just one-on-one today. They just did a 1 hour thing. Very, very cool. Let's dive right in. As always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Many of you. Okay, so podcast episode number 321. Many of you have been waiting for this. This is a special one. I was with the governor yesterday. He came and spent a few minutes with the family, the kids. My son was like, I met the governor. It was great. We were at the Miami Dolphins game. They even won. But I hear this is your first live podcast for an hour that you're going to. So it's an honor to have you here. We're truly honored by this.
Okay, so that's our first thing is, he's doing a live event that's not, an IRL like rally. He's sitting one-on-one and it's a live conversation. There's no cuts. There's no anything like that.
And we appreciate your setting up shop in Florida and doing all you're doing down here.
Yes, I told you earlier, we're going to make Fort Lauderdale the Hollywood of the Burbank of East Coast, but it's going to take us a minute. Anyways, let's get right into it. We got only 1 hour together. So first things first, for me, when I watch you very closely, I told you this yesterday, and I'm going to say it on camera as well, so it's very aligned with exactly the message I give to my son. When Dylan came and he shook hands with you, I said, Dylan, do you know who this man is? I said, this man is the governor. He's the reason why we moved to the great state of Florida. So you're the reason why we came here. And when we were in Texas.
And again, we really, as we get into the weeds of DeSantis and Trump and Vivek and this and that, we can't forget how great of a man DeSantis was for this country, specifically with the Rona stuff. We can't forget that. Got to give respect where it is due.
We had our insurance company. We built it. We moved it from L.A. To Addison, Texas. We had it there. We grew it to 50,000 agents. We sold it a year and a half ago. 2.5 years ago, I said, babe, we got to move to a state. We're looking at everywhere here. We're looking at Greenwich. We're looking at New York. We're looking at Newport Beach. We're looking at staying in Dallas. We're looking at Nashville. We're looking at Tampa. And then finally, we made a decision to come out here for a couple different reasons.
Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. It said Ron to sleeping time. We had a good one a while back. Do you recall? I don't. A nickname, you mean? I don't. What was it? Welcome to the party, brother. We also got Captain Gooey. Welcome. Said what up to me and the gang. That's what I like to see. We are all becoming a gang together. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see you.
So, I think sometimes if we go back 3 years ago, you got a lot of hate. People were criticizing you left and right. And I want to first start off by listing all your victories, what you've done. I think the world needs to know this. And I think this needs to be on a greatest hits constantly over and over again for people to know what you did and how hard it was for you to do what you did. So one.
And again, before he goes into this, I just want to again highlight what I just said, that as we get further into the election season and we are, rah-rah MAGA, rah-rah Vivek, rah-rah whatever you are, we do want to remember that to stake. Oh my God, today is not my day. Blah, 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 blah. We want to take a step back and remember the things that actually matter outside of just this one race.
I'm a guy that lived in California. I saw what Disneyland against Disney World, when everybody's like, well, let's see what's going to happen. This is the best case study of California against Florida. And then one day, Bob Iger comes in and says, I'm out. October of 2020, he left the Newsom camp. And the next day, they announced they're letting go of 28,000 employees, but you kept it open. So Disney World excels. The small businesses around are doing good, but California is getting destroyed. Okay.
Shout out to Nick. Welcome to the party, brother.
Everybody would say, you shut down Florida. You shut down Florida. April 1st, you announced it 2020. It was like 3 or 4 weeks. We were here and then free. It was a decision that a lot of people made.
Man, during that month, we had people flocking to Florida even then.
We were one of them.
We had golf courses going. We had recreation protected churches, all those things. So, we basically did a loose of the federal guidelines, but I was being criticized from the other side saying that this was that I wasn't doing enough on that regard. And then obviously we reversed course very quickly and then led the country for the next few years.
And by the way, to some of the Republicans that criticize you to say he shut it down, that wasn't a shutdown. That was a test to see how things were reacting, to see what it was going to be like. And then you went back to business as usual based on what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that we genuinely didn't know what was good when things started. After a while, we did, and then it was like, oh, okay, we've been lied to. But initially, nobody knew what was good. We all were down for the 14 days to slow the spread, right? So when people are like, I think it was what? Was it I want to say Arkansas or South Carolina, one of them that never closed at all. And it's like, great, awesome. That is totally awesome that you did that. But you also didn't help the rest of the country open up and change the landscape so that it was okay for other governors to say, we're going to do what Ron did. So, I mean, again, credit where credit is due.
UFC 261, first full capacity event that took place April 24, 2021 in Jacksonville. Then you have LeBron. I don't know if he's ever seen.
That we actually did the first live sporting event. COVID came, everyone freaked out, all the sports leagues shut down.
Right.
Dana White was trying to find a deserted island.
Shout out to Fight Island. Those of UFC fans remember that we were in a drought where there was no sports but UFC for a good long while. And, obviously Fight Island helped a lot with that, but so did Ronnie D.
So I called him. I said, Dana, just do it in Florida. And he's like, all right. He's like, where can I do it? I was like, wherever you want. And he wanted to make sure that the local mayor would also be supportive because he's like, I know. I was like, look, I'll overrule him. He's like, no, I want to make sure everyone wants us there. So the Jacksonville mayor was a Republican, wanted him to do. So I think it was
That's a small thing right there. That's a small thing. And I mean, for what it is, it's on Trump. But saying that, like the governor saying, okay, well, you want to have stuff where have this sport, so you want to have this going on. Who cares about the mayor? I can overrule them. And Trump's saying, no, I want to go where I want it. Little things.
First week of May 2020, when people, Governor California saying, don't even leave your house. We did a UFC. Now we didn't have the stadium filled. But to do that was important because people were acting like we couldn't live life. Yes,
we desperately
and so you had that, and so because we stood up for that, Dana's like, I'm always going to come back to Jacksonville. So he's come back to Jacksonville every year now.
And by the way, not only that,
the judging there is another thing, but that's a whole other conversation.
The UFC that they did in Miami was a record breaking at the gate, even bigger than New York. Dana said in an interview, the post fight, he said
we're starved.
Felt like what LA was 10 years ago, even more than that. LeBron James won a championship because of you. These guys were the BLM guys, but they ran the playoffs here, which was full of controversy and contradictions.
The NBA bubble, that's right.
But I can go on and on and on and talk about how parents feel comfortable here. What you've done with limiting the gender affirming care, the E-Verify, veto on wasteful spending. I know the insurance crisis. I made a video about it today, how they're trying to kind of give you a hard time because you stand up to BlackRock and ESG. And then CBDC, which was one of the biggest ones that you guys rarely talk about. I'd love for you to talk more about that. Crypto communities now become crypto capital in the world is Miami. It's here. It's what you guys have done.
Yeah, and I just put a video in the Discord about something with I don't know exactly what it is, but something with crypto. So definitely go check that out. I don't really understand it. So if any of you guys do, please let me know. Shout out to Unwanted Bo. Welcome to the party. Said Ron's a good governor. If Florida didn't have hurricanes, I would move there. A little too human for me, but definitely, yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of the Floridian people are like, yo, why? Like, don't even bother with the president. You're doing great here. We like you here. We don't like you out there, and there's stuff that needs to be handled. So just do your job, bro. And so that's a backdrop that is always going to be hanging on his campaign. That's really, really not good. Dietrich said Ron has had some bad takes and has been ran into a few off-course directions by his campaign team. But like Trump, there are a lot of actions he's done that can't be forgotten that made a difference. Exactly. And so as we are, doing all this with the election, then we don't want it to we don't want December 2024 to come around and then like, oh, we were really hard on Ron. Maybe that wasn't ideal because he's a very strong name in Republican politics, and life moves on after the election. It's not just the election and well, that's it. As much as most people might treat it that way. Not exactly. Well said, Dietrich. Shout out to Bon Zig in the building. Welcome to the party. Always good to see you.
And then I talked about that before, but I want to get into an issue right now that we're dealing with. I lived in Iran 10 years, okay? And whatever we turn on right now, we're seeing Israel, Palestine. A couple months ago was Ukraine, Russia. Now it's Israel.
Same shit. So that brings us to our running poll. The poll we are that we have right now. Does Ron even have a chance? 3 options: yes, no, or only if Trump is removed from the ballot. Do you think he has a chance? Well, yes, if you think that he has a chance while Trump is in there. No, if you don't think it either way, or only if Trump is removed. Let me know which one you believe. So we're saying only a small chance if Trump is removed.
Israel, Palestine. Everyone's talking about it. It's a issue that's very disturbing. When we saw the video of people coming down and then what they did at that rave, the party, and then you're seeing the videos, the kidnapping, all that stuff taking place.
I hope so.
And then the numbers came out today, 8,500 on the Palestinian side, on what Israel has done. You got 1,500 on the Israeli side. It's a very complicated situation here because on one end, you're seeing how many billionaires are pulling money out of giving money to Harvard. I mean, that's where you went to, Yale. That's also where you went into, and Penn and all these different universities. What are you guys doing? How come you're not supporting this? You're supporting Palestine. You're quiet about it. And then on one end, I'm sitting there asking a question saying, how did Netanyahu not know? If you got the best secret intelligence in the world, Mossad, how did you not know this was going to take place? And the other question becomes, how Egypt, why are you not taking, refugees to come to your country? What do you know about your neighbor that the rest of us don't know? These are 2 questions that we can both entertain. But this is the question I had for you.
All right. He always does that. These long lead ups to these questions.
I feel the Democrats have owned the black vote for decades, that they feel like no matter what they do, they are always going to get the black vote. That's kind of how they treat them. So a lot of blacks are not happy about it. But guess what? Every year, 84 to 88% vote Democrat.
We are going to see a sharp decline starting with this this election. I think we already saw a decent decline in 2020, but I think the whole if you don't vote for me, you ain't what. I think that was the nail in the coffin for the Black Caucus to just automatically be Democrats. Gomtech said that is a salesman for you. Yep.
I get a feeling that Netanyahu or Israel, this is a question a lot of people are thinking about, including myself, sees the Americans as the same way. America's got our back. We can do whatever we want to do, and they're going to always have our back. Matter of fact, even in a private conversation that he was having in 2001, I want to play this clip. He's having a conversation with a couple people. This has been reported on by WAPO in 2010.
I thought he was going to play this clip now. Let me know if you guys have seen the clip that he's about to play of Netanyahu.
Al Jazeera, I want to say in 2001 and all over the place. If you don't mind paying attention to this video, and then I'll ask the question. Here's Netanyahu privately having a conversation in 01. Go ahead, Robin, play it.
The main thing is the first of all of them to strike not once, but several times, so painfully that the price they pay is unbearable. So far, the price tag is not unbearable. I mean, a large-scale attack on the Palestinian Authority, causing them to fear that everything is about to collapse. Fear is what brings them to hold on, and then this is somebody else talking. So hold on. But then again, the world will say we're the aggressors, saying to Netanyahu, well, hold on. If we just go ham on the Palestinians, then everybody's going to say that we're the aggressors. So Netanyahu, they can say whatever they want. Like, aren't you afraid of what they'll say? And there it is. Netanyahu says, especially today with the U.S. I know how they are. America is something you can easily maneuver. Words out of the mouth of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is why I don't like the America world police reputation that we have. I'm all for, helping out allies when we need to. I'm not for being like, well, we got America back here, so you better do what we say. I don't like that at all. Easily, what do you say? Easily maneuvered and moved in the right direction. Even if they say something, so then say something. So what? 80% of America supports us. 80% of America supports us. So who cares what is right? Who cares who dies? Because America supports us. Sounds like a good thing. Any films from this video? I think he said it was 2000 something. We'll check it again. He mentioned it right before, but we'll check it again. Remind me if I forget. Bond 6 said Israel must try somebody else. Hey, shout out to Soul to Soul. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. So he said he's not wrong. We are the world's police, thus easily manipulated by global monopolists. Yeah, right. I mean, thank you, Ahmad Defoe. It's 2001. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. So the issue is not with him. He's, thinking about Israel. The issue is with our own government. The issue is with our own government. So any film, yeah, that was 2001. Bonzing said he had 5 terms. He had 5 terms to do it. Yeah. Still working on it. It's absurd.
80% of Americans support us. It's absurd. We can kind of get what we want out of them. So this is my concern. I'm America first. I live here. My kids live here. My kids are in Florida because I feel the safest here. I don't mind my allies having good relationships.
Exactly.
I'm okay with my allies. I have a problem with my allies using me as a card to abuse that get out of jail card. And then eventually this thing can turn around and lead into World War III because World War I, 90 million people died. 60 million people died. If the third one happens at that trajectory, it's 200 million people. 200
million people just gone because America, world police. Hey, we got Rhett in action in the building. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya.
Do you think Netanyahu is kind of using a get out of jail card to do what he wants to do and what he's been wanting to do with Palestine all these years?
No, look, I don't think, I think you pointed out, how does, they have the best security in the world, and yet this is a massive attack on their civilian population. So my sense is in Israel is that the public is very disenchanted with the government. I think they view it as having been a big problem that this happened. And so I think they're now in a situation where they have to say, okay, you have this group in the Gaza Strip, which, by the way, is not occupied territory. Israel pulled out in 2006. They elected Hamas, and I think that's been a big mistake because most of the capital goes into the terrorist infrastructure.
And that's where a big problem with it is that unlike, even though we also armed ISIS and all those people from Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that stuff that turned around to then fight us, Hamas was elected in. And yeah, teachers are saying the fact that people chose sides the day Israel invaded Gaza based on almost non-existent coverage we had shows how little they have to virtue signal. It's all about, what's the right opinion? What am I supposed to say right now? Let's see, that Tim Pool shows was good with Good Scott. Well, I'll definitely have to check that out. Any Film said, okay, 2001, pre or post 9/11, that matters. Under Bush. Also, as mentioned, as far as I know, Israel did not act as an aggressor in those years, only responding to attacks as RD even gave up land. Okay, great. That doesn't change the fact that he looks at America as a bodyguard. Who cares what people will say? We got America over here. Whatever the facts of how things played out after that are irrelevant to the fact that that's his perception, and it's not good.
But I think they're in a situation where you can't live with that type of a threat right on your border, and so they have to deal with it. I don't think it's a question of America get out of jail free. I think honestly they're going to do what they're going to do. We've been a strong ally of theirs, and vice versa over the years. But we've deployed troops all over the world. We've never deployed troops there. They've always fought with their own army. So I think I don't think it's a question of manipulating America. I think it's you have the American people by and large have affinity for Israel. Largely, I think more from in our Christian community than anything, just based on the history of the Judeo-Christian tradition and how it's informed this country. So
that's what they want you to think.
I think it is unique in terms of the affinity that our country has for Israel because of the biblical history and people's adherence to the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Yeah, I mean, Bonsai's like he's giving beta vibes. Like, well, I mean, I know you said exactly the thing that we don't like, but maybe it's just talking or whatever. I don't know. I'm with Bonsai. And he feels said yes. In 2001, he looked at America as a bodyguard, and if it was post 9/11, that's because the U.S. was looking for payback in the region. Did he feel the same security under Obama, Trump, and then under Biden? I would think yes. What I mean, it wasn't as like you're talking about with 9/11. It wasn't as poignant, but absolutely. Why would what have those numbers changed? Has it been below 80% of support? Then why would things change? Just because you and I aren't there doesn't mean that I don't know why that would mean that people change their minds just because we didn't see something on TV. I'm not saying that's what you're implying, but I'm not making the connection.
Earlier today, he said, this whole thing about ceasefire, I don't know if you saw that or not, where he's like, look, we're not going to ceasefire. Did America ceasefire with Pearl Harbor? Did America ceasefire with 9/11? Did America ceasefire? We're not going to either, right? Which, by the way, I understand his position. My concern isn't his position. My concern is this going so extreme.
World War III. Yeah, I'm all for Israel defending themselves. I'm not saying like just sit on your hands. I'm saying the complete opposite. That don't sit on your hands and let us do all of your dirty work. So the Soul said, of course, Israel is an ally. We're funding everything they do. Getting to where I can't stand the placating and the supposed status quo, politically speaking. I, for one, am tired of policing. Yep. As he said, but the U.S.
It backfires. You're seeing what happened at airports yesterday in Russia. I'm sure you saw that clip. It's all over the place. What do we do to prevent this from coming back in our soil? I'm a product of Iran. I lived in Iran 10 years, and I remember when Jimmy Carter's like, well, human rights, the Shah's got to get rid of these 3,000 political prisoners. He did. And then Al-Qaeda and, Osama bin Laden, all this thing came out of it. 10, 20, 30 years later, we got a 9/11 here. So are you worried the position he's taking could have some residual effects that come to America?
I don't think it's because of that. I am worried about terrorism in America, largely because of what our own government has done to let people in illegally from all around the world. You've had people, almost 8 million have come in. We know people have come in from China, Russia, Middle East, all these places, 140 people on the terror watch list that our own government acknowledges.
Yep.
I mean, so you figure there's a lot more than that.
So this shout out to Facebook, whoever's out on Facebook. Hey there. Oh, welcome to the party. I'm sure that's, just whatever. Anyway. It's interesting how he's chosen to move the conversation from the Hamas and Israel attack to, okay, here's what's wrong with our government, because he has a lot more control as president. He would have a lot more control over what's going on, and I think that's a smart move.
And if you look at 9/11, part of the reason that happened was a failure of the immigration system too. I mean, those people they weren't here on valid visas, or they had their visas expired, the hijackers. So my fear is just you have so many people that have flooded in. Some of them are part of the drug cartel. Some of them just want to work. Some of them are criminal aliens. And then some of them, I think, would be potential terrorists. And I think there's going to be a terrorist attack in this country that we're going to be able to trace back to the border. And so I look at it and say, okay, you got to protect your own people first and foremost. Territorial integrity of your country must be enforced. You can't just let the inmates run the asylum.
See, I agree with him here. And I thought it was a good move and taking the conversation in this direction. But now you're just giving platitudes about like, well, we got to keep the American people safe. Like, yes. And your plan to do that is, what are you going to change? What are you going to do? What are you going to, like, the question was, should Americans be worried about a Hamas attack? And you're not saying anything to be either like, yes, this is why I'm going to do this, that, and the other, or no, because we are whatever. Wishy-washy.
And I think what we're seeing in some of these places in Europe, in some of these areas, is they had immigration policies that were bringing people in that didn't want to assimilate. You know, my view is like, nobody has a right to come to America, of course, illegally, but even legally, it's a privilege to be able to do that.
Facts.
The two things that have to be is you got to believe in this country's ideals, and you got to want to assimilate. I don't think it's helpful to bring in massive numbers of people that are going to try to bring foreign cultures in, and that's, I think, what's happened. There's no-go zones in France and in Britain and some of these places. That's not a recipe for success. So
notice the one thing he didn't mention: religious faith. All you need is to believe in our values and want to assimilate into our country. That's it. And we'll say, I think it'll be a huge mistake for Hamas to attack on American soil or anybody that could be traced to Hamas, because I think it would sway and unite the American public against them. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. Again, the worry is that these people don't think in terms of what we think of as logic. And so I don't know that they would care. I think they are ready to have the holy war. And so if that's the way that it goes down in their minds, that's the way that it goes down. That's what scares me. Like, because I completely agree with you here, but it's like, if they don't care, then how do you make somebody care about something they don't care about? So the soul said, a shame. We would need something big like that to act like a unified country again. Not to mention, we just had something arguably that big with Rona, and it destroyed the country.
I think Europe's going to have a very difficult time with these tensions bubbling up. I think we have the ability to still be smart about what we're doing here in the United States, and avoid some of what they've walked themselves into.
I just hope and pray that this thing doesn't get ugly. I know you got 3 kids. I got 4. When you think from your kid's perspective, it's a little bit concerning when you're seeing this is not calming down. It's getting.
Shout out to Stephanie Miller. Welcome to the party. Said I think it's too late for him to have any control over a Hamas attack here. That will be the fault of this administration for leaving the doors open all this time. They are already in place. Yep, I agree. Unfortunately. Welcome to the party. And Rhett's got to leave. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out.
Worse, and it's like at a bar. It's like, what'd you say? What'd you say? And everybody's like, did you see what he said? And it's just getting more and more and more heated. And we got to kind of figure out a way to bring it down. So Republican Party, let's transition to the next topic. There's a bit of a civil war going on in the Republican Party. There's 3, I think, factions right now in the Republican Party.
Ooh, the 3. What do you think the 3 factions in his mind are? We have the obviously the neocons and America First people. But would he separate like the America First people and the MAGA people, or is he just going to? Because I see it more in 2 more slightly overlapping groups of the establishment, and then the Trumpian America First. I put those in the same category. What do you guys think?
One is the anti-establishment faction. Okay, you can put the Matt Gaetz of the world and some of those guys in there, and the MAGA crowd, and Trump and those guys in there.
Okay, so I would call that all just the America First conservatives.
You can put the establishment crowd in there. Some of the guys that are the establishment guys that do well. Some would call you anti-establishment at times. Some would call you establishment.
No, he's definitely establishment. Come on. I mean, like, he's good. He's good with the positions that he has. He's willing to fight, but within the system. Let's not get it twisted. He's not an outsider. He is establishment as establishment gets. Maybe not as establishment, but like that's as far from establishment as you can get. But still be part of the establishment. I mean, he's still part of the, all the military stuff that we're worried about. He's going to find a way to make it seem like, World War III was going to be the worst thing in the world. But I mean, if it happens, and we got a good position. So it's like, whatever.
You're like a hybrid. And then the third could be the Liz Cheney, the Lincoln Project, the old Lincoln Project, which they had some momentum. They don't have the legs they do today, but there's a little bit of the rhino community. For yourself, when you see this, Speaker of the House, McCarthy, Mike Johnson, stuff that we've not seen before, right? You see this division taking place. Do you see yourself as a unifier, or do you see yourself as a revolutionary?
Ooh, a unifier or a revolutionary. So I think I'm trying to get ahead of this and see how well I understand his game plan. If he says he's a unifier, then it means that he's going to try to appeal to the leftists, the wokists, all of those people, and bring them in together. And so he would have to have something that would fight back against the notion that he was good in our eyes, good on COVID, good on wokeness, good on trans, good on that. How is he going to overcome that? If he leans into being a revolutionary, then he has to talk about how that is going to, or how that's not going to create more division with Democrats. Very interesting question. Very, very, very interesting question. So the Soul said he's no unifier now, in my opinion. Should have waited until 2028 if he was going to claim that. Let's say he's going to. No. I bet she's going to say neither. He's like neither or both. He's going to do some bullshit. That's what makes him establishment.
Well, I think in some ways we're both. I mean, we would come.
This is it, though. This is it. The fact that I knew he was going to say something like that is exactly why you don't get my vote. You're not a person. You're just a character.
Come to Washington and upend the order of the way that they've done business, and I don't think we've had a president do that since Ronald Reagan when he came in 1980.
Wait a minute. A GOP candidate talking about Reagan? Groundbreaking.
I think that we need somebody that can come in across the board on all these issues, the bureaucracy, the border, the economy, and implement these changes and do it for an 8-year period. I think that that's very important. But I also am somebody who, in my reelection as Florida governor, I got 97% of registered Republicans. That was a record. I mean, normally if you get 90%, that's considered very, very good.
Okay, but we're talking about the presidential election. So we're not asking for you to unify the Republicans. That's not very hard if you're the Republican candidate. I'm pretty sure, I'm not in the mind of PBD, but I'm pretty sure he was talking about the Democrats. Shout out to Soil too. Soul said, Ron Predictimonious. Oh my God. Oh my God. Savage. I think we got a comment of the night early on. Ron Predictimonious. I love it. Oh, that is hilarious. And Von Zig over here calling him Santa. Said his voice is too thin. There's a way to use that. But he doesn't seem to have command of his voice. He's just very... Well, I'm actually a little bit of both. I'm a unifier. And actually, at the same time, I'm a revolutionary. When you get 97% of the vote, that really means, like, bro, come on. So we said St. Ronnie was the devil that brought us globalism.
We've got 97%.
You destroyed it. It wasn't even close.
Well, but the thing is we were able to bring people together because we had a strong vision and we were delivering results for people. So I think what they're missing in Washington is so much of
somebody who can get all the Republicans to vote for the same person. I don't think that's it, bro.
What the party's doing is theater. You have guys out there that are putting on a show, and that's on all sides. I mean, ultimately, these Lincoln Project people, it's all about clicks for them and money and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that ultimately is not what you're judged on in terms of being a leader. You're judged on, are you actually producing results? Are you moving the electorate in a way that is going to be better? In Florida, we produced results, but we also moved the electorate. We took an electorate that was down the middle, 50-50, and we turned it into a 60-40 victory, now we're considered a strong red state. That was.
I don't think that applies. It's not a governor's race. It's not one state, and it's not a fighting amongst the, when you have as you say, you turned it into, it got turned into a red state. So there was no chance that a blue candidate was going to win. That's not the way that America works. You're not going to be able to turn America into a red country and then be like, okay, now everybody should vote for me. Like, you're looking at it all wrong, bro. Nick says, Ron is just a Republican establishment. Better than the alternative, but still not good. I'm Republican, but I'm not naive enough to think there's no corruption in the party. It's government after all. Bingo. You got it. And Soil the Soul agrees, as do I. That
was not the case. In fact, you go back before I got elected governor, people were saying this was going to go blue. That's what people thought.
That's him exclaiming. You go back, people thought it was going to go blue. Interesting.
And in fact, during COVID, you heard a lot of that because they're like, oh my gosh, Governor DeSantis has schools open. He's got all this stuff open. He's so unpopular, all this stuff. He's not going to be able to win re-election. People were saying that, and they were acting like this was an opportunity for Democrats. Turned out it was the opposite. So I think what you need to you need to unify the Republicans, and you need to win enough independents. If you can't do that, you're just not going to win. And I'm the only one that really has a track record of doing that in Florida. We won independent voters by 18 percentage.
Again, what about the Democrats? You're going to be their president as well. Don't you? Am I wrong? Am I just reading into the question? I assume that if we're talking about a presidential election and we talk about revolution or unifying, then the unifier means to unify the two different sides, not unify all the people that are on the same side.
Points. I mean, that's really what you need. But we didn't do it by contorting ourselves or trying to put our finger in the wind. We did what we believed. We told people the truth. We delivered results, and we were able to track people. There
in Florida,
people out there, they don't need to agree with you on everything. But if they see that you're telling them the truth, if they know you'll fight for them when the chips are down.
But do we know, Ronnie Boy? Do we know? I know you'll try, but I know that there are other gentlemen out there who have a little bit more fervor when it comes to moving this country in the right direction. And maybe they don't, but they sure seem like they do. And unfortunately, friend, that matters. Quamtech said, at this point, I only see conservatives and moderates as the only ones able to unify. Yep. Well, goddamn. Isn't that a fact? God damn. Shit. Damn.
They will support you. So we've got to do more of that, I think, as the Republicans. But look, I was conservative against the Republican establishment before Donald Trump ever ran, and I'm the same. A lot of those people.
That's the second time we brought up Trump unsolicited.
People in D.C., they don't want me to be the candidate. They opposed me. Everything we did in Florida, they've opposed. They opposed us having the state open. They opposed us having schools open. They opposed us fighting the vax mandates and stopping those. They opposed us beating Disney in the parents' rights fight. They've opposed us on getting critical race theory out of our schools. They opposed us on banning sanctuary cities. They opposed me when we sent illegal aliens to.
Rule of threes, bro. Rule of threes. Whatever you're doing, pick three and then make your point. Because now they fought against you, but I don't even remember what led up to this. And now I don't remember how you're going to tie it and be like, okay, they fought against you. And what? If you don't have a charismatic tone to your voice, then you have to be ultra concise. You have to be ultra concise because people will just tune you out very, very, very easily. Very easily. Exactly, unwanted folks. 20 words or less. 20 words or less. Any film said, I believe Trump talked and talks a lot more about Americans instead of Democrats and Republicans. More jobs for Americans, better economy for Americans, bring Americans home from overseas. Exactly. And we just don't hear that kind of stuff. We don't hear that kind of substance from Ron DeSantis. I think looking back after whoever becomes the candidate, I think looking back, it'll be a lot easier to point out. See, this is what we were missing. But it's just like there should be something in my hand after you say something, but it's just empty. What can I grab onto? I don't know. I don't know. And Andy Film, you're spot on here. Where Trump seems to kind of elevate himself above the, like Soul to Say was just Soul was just talking about the two-party system. Trump seems to elevate himself above that. And so it's not really about Republican or Democrat. It's about, do you like Trump or do you not like Trump? And so, yeah, I mean, you might be right here. Like, this division might be just birthing pains. And, the landscape that we're going to see after this election and moving forward, not going to be anything like it was in 2015. And already, it's almost a decade ago, guys. That's almost a decade ago that we've been in this theoretically transitional period, but this post-Trump world. It's been almost a decade. And so this idea of going back is, number one, probably not possible. And number two, I don't know if it's even really what we want. Hey, shout out to Suzanne Mack in the building. Welcome to the party. Since Senator DeSantis does not have a voting record to back his claim that he was America first against Republicans before Trump was on the scene. Ooh, getting called out. Call him out. And hello, welcome to the party. See, that's the stuff we need, because as somebody who didn't pay too close attention to politics before 2015, as somebody who is not from Florida, as somebody who, is not familiar with or as familiar with Ron DeSantis before Rona, this is people can say things, and we know politicians lie, but it's going to come, the bill comes due. Exactly. No substance at all. So it's truly almost like, do you like America or do you like globalism? Yep. Golnex said Trump's neural linguistics are really awesome to study. Say things small, but get a big impact. Since the Florida GOP just wrote an open letter to DeSantis asking him to get back to work. Yeah, I was just talking about that earlier, where the people are like, yo, number one, this isn't going so great. If you were, blazing the trail, all right, we'd have your back. But since it's not really working out, why don't you just come on home and do your job? How about that?
To Martha's Vineyard. So that cabal of Republicans is basically a surrender caucus. They don't actually ever win victories. They're totally fine being the junior partners to the Democrats in the entrenched DC ruling class. That is totally unacceptable. And
what are you going to do about it?
I fought those guys the whole time.
Okay, you've been doing a lot of fighting, but you were the one who started this out by saying results. So what did all this fighting get us? And I'm not saying nothing. I'm asking the question.
I'm really the only guy that has just beat the left on issue after issue. I mean, we've beat them across the board. We've thoroughly pushed them out of taking over institutions. I mean, for example, higher education. I now have tenured professors in Florida every 5 years. They have to undergo review. They can be let go. I put 7 conservatives on the trustee board at New College. They fired the president. They got rid of DEI. And now they have a classical liberal arts college like Hillsdale College. And
there you go. This is what he needs. He needs to be hitting hard, making the points, using buzzwords. We hate buzzwords because they are a crutch for politicians. But this guy needs every crutch he can get. He needs it. Oh no, Von Six said he got that jank feeling almost. Oh, savage. It is pretty sad. But again, maybe it's just working out the way things are supposed to be. We need a strong Florida. So maybe, just maybe, he goes back to Florida. In 28, we're ready to go. So the Soul said, I grew up in Florida. My mom is still there. Straight boomer, hard R. And she's getting fed up with this this. Oh man. He really stepped in it. Because he was so loved. He was so loved as a governor. And I guess, like, nobody was really anticipating that he would get so much hate. So, I mean, it must just be a cautionary tale to really always remember that there's a big difference between being a big fish in a small pond and going to the ocean, so to speak. I'm watching folks that'll probably ramble and miss the impact he needs. Yep, I stopped him in the middle where he's like, okay, good. Now you shut up. We got what you need. You shut up. Oh, no. Shout out to Insight of the Ages. Said the shoes got him. The shoes got him. Put a one in the chat if you know what this means. It is going to come up in the episode. So if you don't know, don't worry. But put a one in the chat if you know what Insight of the Ages is referring to. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party.
They're bringing in new professors. They're cycling out some of the old professors. The media will say, oh, there's a brain drain leaving new college and this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. If a professor of intersectional Marxism is leaving Florida, that is not a negative for Florida. That's a good thing. What we've done in K-12 schools to protect parents' rights. And I think if you look at the larger reason why the country's in decline, I think a big part of it is the left. Anytime there's any vacuum, they get in. So they're in education, bureaucracy, now corporate America with things like ESG and the whole DI agenda. So they corrupt these institutions, and then that ends up being weaponized against regular Americans. And so in Florida, we beat them on the institutional level. And no other Republican can say that they've done that, because I understand that you can win a superficial policy fight, and you need to win those in the legislature or whatnot. But if the left controls every institution in our society, then ultimately it's a losing proposition. So Florida.
Oh, I thought he was going to stop there. I thought he was going to stop. Ronnie, no. No. That was perfect. That was so good. He was hitting hard, and exactly what Guamzek is saying, that he needs to keep boasting about the wins he's had in Florida against the left, and then talk about how he can do that on a national level. Absolutely. Ramblin' Ron. And it's just so disappointing. It's so disappointing because I hate when people get TDS, and we have two people on the stage with DeSantis and Vivek, who I do think would make good presidents. But when you got a Trump, you know what I mean? Yeah, it looks like you guys figured it out a little bit. Short man syndrome is a thing. If you are short, be a king. Shout out to all the other short kings out there. But, oh, man, like, imagine if you just stopped right here.
In our society, then ultimately it's a losing proposition.
And then it goes back to PBD. Like, wow, yeah, I like that. It is a losing proposition. Recency, what is it called? The recency, no. There's the recency bias, but primary recency bias. So the first thing you say, especially when you're listing things, again, why you don't want to have a super long list, the people you're talking to are much more likely to remember the first thing you said and the last thing you said. So you want to start strong. If you got details, you got to ramble, and then boom, start strong and strong. This is like high school level public speaking shit.
So Florida, I think the reason we're the free state of Florida, yes, no income tax, yes, COVID freedom, all that important, but we have beat the left on the institutional level.
Listen, the one of the things that was the most impressive with you is your dogfight. You fought. It wasn't like you backed down. You're not afraid. You got brass. You're willing to get up there and throw, with anybody. And that's actually very attractive, because we need that in America today, especially as a parent, people that want to create jobs, that want low regulation. You want that. But I want to go back to the question about unifying and revolutionary. So are you...
Which he, again, he answered by saying both, but he really didn't answer the question.
Is the goal more for the party to win, policies to win, or for your personal ambitions of you being a president?
Ooh, okay. Well, obviously you have to, regardless of what the reality is, you have to say the policies and the party and all that. It's not about your own personal... You can't say that, even if it is. Right? I mean, come on. Yeah, some people just, I get how in a presidential election it matters a little bit more. You don't ever have to take off your boots in front of the camera. But I'm with you. And I mean, you got 3 inches on me. So
which one's more important?
The results, 100%.
Okay. All right. Okay. So he gave the right answer. Now let's see how he rambles and screws it up.
For those results. You're judged by the results you do. It's not about holding the position. It's about what you do to make the country better and to make the people freer.
Fair enough. I want to play this clip for you. Then
Okay. Hey, there we go. That was well done. That was well done. I mean, I wish he would have just originally done that, but let's listen to that again real quick though. Zibby, you're right. When he says, if he talks about Vivek, he legitimizes Vivek, but in reality, Trump is a much bigger threat, and he's brought up Trump, I think 2 or 3 times already. So you're right, but I think that because of the fact that it started as Trump, DeSantis, it started as Trump, DeSantis, and Vivek, and now it's Trump, Vivek, and like DeSantis. So I think it would behoove him more to, if he's speaking about other candidates in the field, it would behoove him more to speak about how he can be better than Vivek rather than how Trump is, how he's kind of like Trump. You know what I mean? Insight said he looks kind of like Fred Flintstone. Oh no. Oh, we're going after him. He's like the short Ed and Eddie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Savage, guys. Savage. Let's not forget that I'm a short king as well. All right, please.
I got a question for you. This is a campaign.
Actually, no. I want to run that back. And this is what this is the kind of
uniform people I want to.
This is what we want from him. So pay attention one more time, because this is when you see something different from this, then you know what he's doing wrong.
Create jobs. I want low regulation. You want that. But I want to go back to the question about unifying and revolutionary. So is the goal more for the party to win, policies to win, or for your personal ambitions of you being a president?
Okay, again, so this is the kind of answer that we want.
Which one's more important?
The results, 100%.
Okay.
I'm a vessel for those results. You're judged by the results you do. It's not about holding the position. It's about what you do to make the country better and to make the people freer.
Fair enough. I want
that is how you deliver a presidential answer. It only took us 7 different podcasts and 20 minutes into this one to get a single presidential answer. And again, the frustration comes from the understanding that it's just the optics. It's just the optics. We can get into, where DeSantis would, get down with the military-industrial complex and, this, that, whatever. We can get into that. But we're not even, it's not even relevant unless he is presenting himself in a way that it's going to matter. Dietrich said, Kenneth Allen is known as the worst MMA fighter with a record of 1 win and 42 losses. You can always claim to be a fighter, but if you can't prove you're a winner, no one's going to fill your stands. I 1000% get your point. I'm just saying, I totally want to be a huge Kenneth Allen fan now. Just to see, he's got to win eventually, right? Again? No? I don't know. But no, I get your point. Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, there's a certain respect that I have for people who are willing to step in the cage one way or the other. But, when you're not actually stepping into a cage, when you're not actually taking punches, when you're not actually doing that kind of stuff, then that aspect of the analogy fades away and you're just stepping up and losing over and over and over and over again. So, you could be a fighter, but like you said, if you can't prove you're a winner, no one is going to fill your stands. Well said. Shout out to Indyville. Thank you, sir. Can we get him up here, Morty? Come here, look. Come here. No, come on. Look. Oh, it's raining. It's a rainy day, but we have a treat for Morty. That's right. Every single super chat donation comes with a treat for Morty. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you. Oh, before we dive back in, let's say hello to CT223. Welcome.
I want to play this clip for you. Then I got a question for you. This is a campaign video that most people haven't seen. This is from 5 years ago. Not this one. Go to the other one, the YouTube one right there. I want to play this clip, and I got a question for you.
You again, buddy.
Everyone knows my husband, Ron DeSantis, is endorsed by President Trump, but he's also an amazing dad.
Have you guys seen this before?
Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build a wall.
He reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
I just thought you should know.
Cringe. It probably was a great ad for the time, but looking back, now it is cringe. Suzanne said, I think Ron performs better in aggressive interviews. Patrick is so quick and smart, so you need your best game. Well said. Yeah, and that's since we're talking about fighting and MMA and stuff like that, that's what we call the John Jones effect, is that you only rise to the occasion that you need to. You could be the greatest fighter in the history of the game, but you're only bringing as much of that game as you need to. And that is, that might work when all you need to do is knock the other guy unconscious or hit him more times than he hits you. But when you got to get people's votes, it's not the same thing. Nick said, start betting odds, right? Hopefully, odds hopefully end up in your favor eventually. Yeah, right. I mean, that's a big win when that guy finally gets 2 and 42? Come on. Guamtech doesn't like it. Oh man. The reactions. I love it. Zimmy said, Ron is lukewarm. He focused on facts with too much information. And this is another aspect. Bonzig is saying his team is sabotaging him. This is mad. Now, again, I think this was for him. I'm pointing up because of my thing, but this was for him to be governor. This isn't for his presidential campaign. So I don't think that's a bad advertisement at all. I think that's perfectly fine. The problem is that it doesn't have the foresight to not be cringe today. That's the problem. And it's things like that you need to be able to look forward and say, okay, here's my strongest point today. How is that going to affect me tomorrow? Well, if everything is riding on coattails, then you ain't nothing. But like Bonsing is saying, his team might be sabotaging him. And a lot of the issues that people have had with DeSantis is not just his overall demeanor, but the marketing, and particularly the people who are interacting with people on Twitter. It's just not going well. So I don't know. It's a weird. Again, I think at the time, perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with this ad. It's a goofy little thing, whatever. But that's the question. It begs the question. It raises the question. I keep using that incorrectly. It raises the question. So is he still that guy? So he's a Trump supporter? Does he think we're as dumb as Biden voters or what? These are the message. This is more optics that you've messed up, bro. You gotta know how this stuff is going to work. If you can't even play to your own people, how are you going to perform on the world stage with other countries?
Ron DeSantis for governor.
Yeah.
So what happened? What happened between the two of you guys?
Well, nothing. Well, first of all, that just understand, that's obviously a tongue-in-cheek. We were having fun.
Of course, it's actually a funny video.
But here's the thing.
I agree.
When you're doing these campaigns, you want to get as much free media as possible. So I knew that would cause the corporate media to light their hair on fire, and they did. And so they just kept playing it for me. So
cope or no? Put a 1 if you think that's cope. Put a 2 if you think this was his plan all along. 1 if it was cope. 2 if it was planned all along. Suzanne said, DeSantis is too far to the right for me. He complained that Trump did not abuse his power over the riots and said he would do. Well, I mean, I guess that means that I might be too far to the right too, because I was definitely saying that, if we're talking about like the summer of love with people burning down cities and not sending the National Guard out, I would have been happy with that. But absolutely fair enough. Fair enough. So we got 2 from Guantek and a 1 from Von Zig. Unwanted Foe said he's changing his team too many times for it to be a plan. Well, no. The plan specifically with that video. So he said the plan specifically with that video was that, mainstream media was going to pick it up and play it over and over and over. So he didn't have to actually pay for the advertising to run. So he ain't no shit. Well, we got a couple people who, believe him. Let's see. Let's run it back. Let's see. If we can see the body language.
In these campaigns, you want to get as much free media as possible. So I knew that would cause the corporate media to light their hair on fire, and they did. And so they just kept playing it for me. So we didn't even have to really pay for the ad and everything, and we're just doing out. And
I gotta tell you, I believe him. You want to know why? He's not talking like this. He leaned back, he's swinging his chair a little bit, he's using his arms a little bit more, he's getting a little bit more comfortable, and it doesn't sound so rehearsed. So I believe that. Now, again, is that super consequential whether or not he did that ad because he was riding coattails or because he knew it would get play or whatever? At this point, not really. But I'm concerned with how much is he playing the game, how much is he being honest, and how much of that can overlap. Because ideally, that's what we want, is that somebody who knows how to play the game, but in the midst of playing the game, they still deliver on what is promised, at least for the most part. Obviously, we don't have a wall. But it wasn't 50 miles like they said, right? Zippy said they went in the direction of boomer cool. So they went cringe. Cringe can be good, but also very bad. DeSantis does not have the charisma to do a cringe ad campaign. Fair enough. And even said he should have stayed on the Trump train if attacked by Trump. He should have just said, I think he did a great job. I love the MAGA movement, and I think it's a great future for America. But how was that not campaigning for Trump to be the president then? That's the issue with putting yourself in that position in the first place. If he wanted to be that guy, he should have been that guy as the Florida governor. Suzanne said the governor has to send the National Guard out to his state. It's not a presidential power to overrule the governor. That is true. I'm just saying in general, I think that it was reasonable for those governors to have called the National Guard. That's all I mean. Guantex said, what's worse, calculated robot charisma or old man yelling at the sky charisma Joe? Definitely Joe is worse. Joe is definitely worse. All right. I'm totally fine with going back to politics being boring, which is what we would get with Ron. You're not going to get salacious headlines every single day. They're going to try, but it's not going to be that. But the headlines that we get today, they're not salacious, nor are they're not fun like they were with Trump. It's just like, oh, Biden did some brain dead bullshit again. It's not fun. I don't want that. So definitely yelling at the sky, charisma Joe. So he said DeSantis should have been like, I like Trump, but I can do better. Then do it in 20 words or less. Yep. We agree on that. I think you're saying you agreed that the governor's, okay, you agree. So what's okay, I missed something then. Seems too far to the right. He complained that Trump did not abuse his power. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. I know what I missed. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm with you. So said, I think the deep state would end up controlling Ron just like Biden, but maybe not quite as bad. Not sure how it would be boring. I have a feeling we are past that as far as the media thinks. I say boring in a comparative way. Certainly, we have passed the Rubicon where they can just go back to, well, yes, today the Republicans did this and the Democrats did that, and they happened to disagree, but at the end of the day, they shook hands. Yeah, we're past that. But I mean, I don't know about like just everything is racist and president is a Nazi and this. I don't know if we're gonna be seeing all that kind of salaciousness, salatiating. I don't know, but I think that I agree that it's gone. But with Trump, we got hope. Hey, shout out to Unwanted Foe for the $10 super chat. Let me see. I'm not gonna coax him too much because he's scared. But Maury, come here. Come get a treat. Come here. No, he's shaking. But I do have his treats here for him. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you, sir. Very, very much appreciated.
And so part of it is that gets out. What do the average voters see? They say, hey, this is a guy with this beautiful wife, young kids, everything like that. And that kind of helped us there. But, I did more for him in his 2020 reelection than any other elected official. I raised him more money than any elected official. I got people in Florida to support him that were not happy with him because he didn't fire Fauci. He didn't do anything to stop the BLM riots in the summer of 2020.
And that's just what Suzanne was talking about, is that he doesn't have that power. It's the governor's responsibility.
Which we didn't tolerate in Florida. But you had cities burning down all across this country, and there was nothing done. So there was a lot of people that I got on his team, and I worked really hard, and we, really delivered the victory, because in October of 2020, I mean, his campaign was putting out stuff, if he loses Florida, it's all because of the governor. Okay, well, I brought in more Republicans here. So I was happy to do that. But the reality is, okay, what about going forward? What's the vehicle to make the country great again? And we need somebody who's going to be able to galvanize support and then attract the needed personnel to be able to deal with the administrative state.
And I can do that by?
And then you need to actually be able to deliver results. I mean,
okay, and I can do that by?
One of the things on there that it's talking about is the wall. Remember, build the wall and have Mexico pay for it. What he now says on the campaign trail, I mean, honestly, honks me off, because he says that if you believed what he said then, that you're somehow a loser. That's what he said the other day. And then before he says, all these people saying that I'm gonna have Mexico pay. There's no legal mechanism in Mexico. Then you look at,
did he actually use the word loser? I would be very surprised if he used the word loser. I wouldn't be flabbergasted, but it strikes me as like Trump doesn't seem to speak that way. So just keep, and again, all is fair in love and war and politics, but just keep that in mind. I don't know that he called you a loser if you thought that, Mexico was going to pay for the wall. Now, at the time, I was very open about how stupid I think it is for any of you to believe that Trump is going to get Mexico to pay for the wall. And I was right about that. I don't know how many of you believe that, but let's keep it a buck. Of all of the never Trumper things, Mexico was never paying for that wall. Come on. Let's grab some of these here. Zippy says only progressivism can bring you a senile dementia patient as president of the United States.
Come on, man.
He did. Yep. Facts. Maybe reelected. He won his first race by a narrow margin, then second by a landslide. Oh, you mean, wait. Oh, you mean DeSantis only got elected because of Trump. A whole bunch of people getting elected just because of Trump. He won his first race in a narrow margin, the second race by a landslide. Well, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely only because of Trump. Indie Film says, Ron disingenuous? Yes, Trump should have fired Fauci. Had an investigation into the whole China COVID matter, but had zero power to do anything about the riots. Yeah, that's a good talking point, because I'd forgotten about that, and I'd thought about that, and you have to pay attention to that stuff. My whole thing is, hey guys, let's make sure we pay attention to that stuff. And sometimes, they still get one by me. This is their job. This is what they do. And as bad as he is compared to Trump, as bad as he is compared to Vivek, he's up there. He's a great politician. So good call, good catch, making sure, keeping me honest, and maybe Ron, not so much.
What he said in 2016, he was saying he was going to have Mexico pay. But here's the thing about execution. There actually is a way to have Mexico pay. The way you have Mexico pay is you impose fees on remittances that people send back to Mexico who work here, Central America.
Right. So I'm going to back this up. But yeah, so Suzanne, that's what I'm curious about, is that they're losers, these losers over here. But the for his own supporters who believed that Trump was going to not only get the wall built completely and then get Mexico to pay for it. DeSantis just said Trump is now calling those people losers. Not for it is okay. Not for it is okay. That's what I thought. See, I'm catching most of this stuff. CT, so they said the wall would cost $10 to $20 billion. Trump could have just built it. Don't really know why he didn't. We've spent $100 billion plus on Ukraine's border. That is fucking based. And I think the comment of the night. How would you not be elected again if you took $20 billion out of your own pocket to build a wall? It's not like he wouldn't have been able to make money back by being the president again. It's because, all the business holdings were, for family members. He had nothing to do with any of that, right? Smart. All right, let's back this up a little bit. See what this jamoke is saying.
Have Mexico pay. But here's the thing about execution. There actually is a way to have Mexico pay. The way you have Mexico pay is you impose fees on remittances that people send back to Mexico who work here, Central America, anywhere in the world. You'd raise billions of dollars and you would actually be able to construct the wall. So, look, I'll tell you,
see, again, just glossing over points. You just said there's a way to do the thing that the guy that you like said he could do, but he couldn't do. Here's how you do it. And then you do this. And then let's move on to something else. You need to punctuate your points. Pause. Stop. Just give a look. You ever notice how I've stopped trying to do the whole show staring into the camera. I've realized that I'm just not going to do that. I can't I'm paying too much attention to looking at you. So I look around, I do whatever, and then I use this for effect. So I'll be like, oh, this is going crazy, like stuff like that. Or, we'll be watching the thing and somebody will say something and I'll give one of these and it's like, or reach out or something like that. You need to communicate these things in ways other than just the things that you're saying. This isn't enough. It's good, but it's not enough. I thought there were people sending money back did so under the table. Well, they want to bring it above board, Soul to Soul said they would have just revamped the whole xenophobe thing and complain about poor families not being able to come across. I don't know though, because the the whole thing with, especially with New York City, where they're now reticketing all the immigrants that are coming there. Liberal cities are starting to feel this in a way that they have not before. Partly because it's never been as bad as it has been before. But part of it is because they're finally actually, with the busing, with the and it hasn't not like they've been doing that for a while, but they've got the media behind it, they got the numbers behind it, and it's really starting to hit home that I think, if you ask me, I think Democratic politicians in these more northern cities, they weren't like stupid. It's not like they didn't know that border towns were dealing with these issues. It's just politically expedient to be like, no, we care about the people. Blah, 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 blah. So I think forcing them to be like, all right, you got us. I think that's all that's happening. I don't think Eric Adams is like, what? You mean resources are finite? What? No, can't possibly be. So I think it's just checkmate. I think it's just checkmate. Thanks for the $10, bro. Really appreciate it. Munad. So the Soul said yes. No, yes, I agree. I was referring as to when he was in office, and it wasn't quite as bad as it is now. Yep. It's constantly moving. It would be easier to garnish their wages. Whose wages? What am I saying? Oh, okay. It would be adding an additional fee tax on those money grant services, most likely. Oh, we're talking about get Mexico paying for the wall. All right, let's see.
Who work here, Central America, anywhere in the world. You'd raise billions of dollars and you would actually be able to construct the walls.
That's where you stop. And that's how you end, and you throw it back to PBD and see if he has anything on that. That is a winning point. You want to stick right around that area as long as you can, but he does this.
So, look, I'll tell you, I was disappointed.
I said, shit, me too, Ronnie.
As he's leaving office, did he use that time to fire Fauci or to do any of that? No, he actually gave Fauci an award, a presidential commendation on January 19th, 2021.
Let's not forget, that is true. But again, are you going to punctuate that? Or are you just listing things? You're just rambling things. And film says, first get them to pay taxes on their under-the-table wages, then garnish them. If only, right? If only people who came here and got free shit were not the ones who are the ones who had to actually pay into the system. Crazy thought.
And that was personal for me because Fauci.
Okay, here we go.
Everything we did in Florida, Fauci attacked us on.
Andres, can we lower Governor's audio down like a notch? It just all of a sudden spiked. Please continue. Go for it.
So Fauci.
Oof, that was rough. I don't know. I would be mad if I was Ron, because that's a good point. That was personal. That was personal to me. Good. Humanize yourself. And the BB's like, hey, we got some behind the scenes stuff going on. Let's see if we can recover.
He would do interviews with local TV affiliates in Florida bashing us. Oh, they're reckless. They shouldn't do that. He attacked us because I forced the schools to be open. I mean, I didn't really have the normal authority. I was using emergency powers and leveraging those with the funding to be able to do it. And that saved the bacon for a lot of kids. And it was obvious after a few months that this Fauci was totally off his rocker.
A few months? Did you forget the 80s? You know, AIDS?
But he was doing real damage because anytime he'd go to the podium, his pronouncements were treated like the Pope speaking ex cathedra to Catholics. And it was very...
Black Swan, though, was a very tough season where even Obama, Biden, none of these guys had prepared for a pandemic. The only one that knew a pandemic was coming was a guy named Bill Gates. Everybody else is like,
but
that's because he supposedly, allegedly, maybe in a video game, engineered it. He engineered it.
Here's the thing. You don't know. That's true. And I think there was a lot of uncertainty in March of 2020. The question is, what about November of 2020, December, January of 2020?
What should he have done?
He should have fired Fauci. He should have held these people accountable for being wrong, for lying to the public on all these different issues. The corrupt medical swamp in D.C. was a total disaster. I'll tell you what they also shouldn't have done.
Again, guy, punctuate your things. Like, oh, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I want to post like PBD's like, I don't know this guy because he won't stop rambling. No, that seemed pretty legit. I definitely think you could have, like, let's say that this is the setup, right? And I have somebody, I have a producer over in that direction, right? He's in the middle of telling his story. I could very easily be like point at him, point at his mic, and point down, and tell him, don't worry, you keep going. Then I go over to my producer, his mic, turn it down. But he didn't. He chose not to. You got to look into these things. You got to look into these things. People do things for reasons. Next, I don't think the Democrats know exactly what they are doing, unfortunately, because they have been effective at being the country to edge of becoming socialist. Luckily enough of us don't want that. Facts. Yeah, I think that they have just coalesced so much around winning. Remember we talked when we did the VidCon stream with Destiny and Emma Vigilant and Vosh, and they said the quiet part out loud, or at least Emma did, where she sees a very big difference between politics and real life. She doesn't think that they're connected. It's a game to her. And so it's all about, how to win, because it's just a game. It doesn't matter the reality. It doesn't matter the consequences. It's just about winning in that moment. And it's sad that that's all they have. It's also sad that despite that being all they have, they're still putting up a good fight with controlling all of everything. That's what they want. And we want them to not do that. And they have no values. And yet they're still winning. How is that possible? How is that possible? Suzanne said that's why Trump got the Mexican government involved by pressuring him into policing their borders. Yep, that's another good thing that right over their heads. CT said, yeah, I think we write off bad policy as being stupid too many times. These people aren't stupid. They're excellent operators in the government bureaucracy. Yep, they know it's good. Their whole job is to pretend to be dumb enough to have the plausibility, the plausible deniability. Well, I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm just a dumb politician. I don't know about that.
January of 2021, last few weeks in office, they're sending me missives from the White House task force saying, impose a mask mandate, close restaurants. And I'm just thinking to myself, and the media here would use it as fodder. They would say, DeSantis is not following the Trump White House task force. And I wasn't. That's true, but the media used that as a wedge. So I think that the whole Fauci, and here's I think the issue for the
guys, if you are new here and you would like to have a discussion where you're not stuck behind your keyboard, you're actually on screen with me and everybody else, we have the after party in Discord that starts exactly as this ends. You do have to be a channel member to be part of the after party, but the Discord is free to join. We are in there 24/7 hanging out, and like we said, the after party is a raging.
Election going forward is I'm the only one running that is talking about bringing accountability for what happened to this country during COVID. It's one thing to make a judgment call that's wrong, but it's another thing to ignore evidence. It's another thing to lie. When you tell people like CDC did that if you take an mRNA shot, you will not get COVID, and you still stand by that when it's obvious that people are getting it, when you're having the FDA approve an mRNA shot for 6-month-old babies where there's no evidence that that's benefiting them, this is a swamp. This needs to be cleared out. I will do that. Here's a concern, I think, with the Trump nomination.
Stop talking. I know I keep bringing it up, but I can't not hear it. I hear a good point, I'm ready to jump in and be like, "Hey, man, that was a great point." And well, also, but then, bro, just stop.
Is RFK Jr. running as an independent? He would be the vessel for, and there's a lot of anti-Fauci, anti-lockdown voters who are upset about it.
Sure.
And I get that those things are connected tangentially, but you're talking about what Trump did wrong, how Fauci is bad, what you did good, and how RFK has something to do with this, all in the same sentence. Politicians may not be dumb, but people certainly are. You need to dumb it down. I'm barely following you.
RFK would be the vessel in that scenario, whereas me as the candidate, I'm the vessel for that. Everyone knows I'm gonna hold people accountable. In fact, I'm gonna be in New Hampshire.
So what I just heard is that if COVID was the biggest thing, then vote RFK. That's what I just heard this man tell me. That RFK is going to be the vessel. What are you doing? What are you doing? Exactly. Why are you should be saying as little as you can. Every word that you say is possible to be spun in the media. Like Amonjafo said earlier, 20 words or less. You should have sharp sound bites for every little thing. We should be saying, "Oh, I've heard him say that 7 million times." You know, it's a good line, but I've heard him say it. That should be the issue that we have with Ron DeSantis. Not that he's all just saying stuff and things. Suchi said, "Have you all heard the theory that he has Asperger's?" What do you think? That should be the next poll. That is going to be the next poll. So right now we are running. I'm going to run this poll again. Actually, I'm not even going to because I thought that, you know, this would be good for him, but it's not looking that way. So let's end this poll. We have a grand total of 5% of you said that Ron has even a chance. And if we combine the 38% that said only if Trump is removed, then if Trump is removed, still, not even half of you think that he even has a chance. Pathetic. So let's go to this poll here. Do you think Ron, let's just say, is on the spectrum? Let's not be let's not try to diagnose anybody, but do you think he is on the spectrum? Amonjafo said, but the Pfizer CEO said it's 100% effective. Of course. According to some small study group and after.
Bingo.
Yep. Guamtech said 8 humanized mice say it's safe. Nick said Ron's being like me, but because he needs a sign saying, "Help, I'm talking and I can't shut up." Oh my God. If you guys know the after party, like Nick, we love you so much, but he's so right. He gets into these thoughts And he never pauses at the end of a sentence. God, these damn flies. He never pauses at the end of a sentence. He'd be like, yeah, I was, when I was young, my dad would take me out and we'd go fishing. And, you know, then we would be out on the lake all day. And it was a really good time. But then sometimes it's like, Nick, I love you, but what are we doing here? What are we doing? What is the bottom line? Oh, Nick, I love you, brother. I love you, brother. You are hilarious. You are hilarious. Yeah, man, these polls are I got to get better with you know, these polls not being so one-sided. ZB said no, but it sounds right. I also think I think Trump is learning disabled too. I don't know about that. Yes. Thank you, CT. No offense to folks with Asperger's. You can be highly successful with that diagnosis. Just explains his social quirks, which again is why we just changed it to, do you think he is on the ASD spectrum? Stephanie Miller said, I thought he was a great candidate before. I remembered saying I hope he runs, but I can't honestly say where that changed. And I think a lot of people feel this way as well, because it's not like he's done any big things. It's just that everything he's done has been like, oh, okay. I was expecting a little bit of this, but okay. And for whatever reason, we all had our expectations really high, and he just didn't meet them. He just didn't meet them. Zibby says, come on, brother. So Zibby's got all this stuff. And Zibby says ADD at least. Yeah, probably, but you know, who doesn't? So the Soul says, I'm going to say no, and I don't mind saying in regards to Asperger's. My youngest son has that now, called high functioning autism, and I'm just not seeing it. Not saying I'm right. Not saying I'm right though, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it can be hard to tell, and Asperger's, or that type of you know, that area of the spectrum, can be very difficult to tell. You know, if you have a more severe case, it can be easier to tell, and you may have some things that you know, functionally you are not as good as other people, whereas you know, higher functioning stuff is more just like social quirks. And some of us are just weird. Like, I am not great socially in every situation, but I don't have autism. I'm just weird sometimes. But so she's saying she don't see it. I definitely don't have the eye for it. But I do see some quirks that I see are not that. Let me just say, I see the quirks that I would expect a neurotypical person to adjust over time. This glossing over thing, that should be such an easy fix. And the fact that he doesn't do it says to me that it's likely that somebody is telling him, okay, when you make a point, you got to stop. But that he has some of these, and again, maybe it's not autism at all. Maybe it's some other completely separate thing. But there's definitely something, just like one click to the left, if you know what I mean. Context of Ron has the same energy as the neighbor's kid that just doesn't know when to stop talking. Maybe even hardworking, but you just can't stand to listen to them for more than 5 minutes. It's tough, but how are you going to vote for somebody like that? How are you going to vote for somebody like that? Nah, Nick. See, you don't need a mute button, because we can just be like, Nick, you lost us. And you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I was saying this thing, I don't know. Or you'll just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I was rambling, never mind. You don't need a mute button, because you're aware that it's happening, and you're not offended by us just pointing it out, because we're not trying to be offensive, and it works. It works. Suzanne said Trump is definitely a neuro atypical. Not convinced with DeSantis. They're definitely, that's apples to oranges though. I mean, I am not going to have the who has more severe autism between the two of them. That is not a conversation. That's not doing that. So do you think? I think he's primed to run again later. Even with this ruined campaign, he's still young, and if he learns from his mistakes in this campaign, he is a great operator. His Florida history proves it. He needs a better team behind him. Yep. Yep. Well, I hope they address that because a lot of people have been talking about that.
RFK would be the vessel in that scenario, whereas me as the candidate, I'm the vessel for that. Everyone knows I'm gonna hold people accountable. In fact, I'm gonna be in New Hampshire this week with Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, Dr. Ladapo. He's one of the few, and he's really the only person in a position of power that's actually.
And he got criticized a lot as well.
Well, that's what I told him when I hired him. I said, listen, what you're doing, you're going to be the only one in position of power to actually take these, because that was one of the things early on with me when I was making these decisions. It wasn't just that it was unpopular. I could not get a doctor to stand with me and say I was right. And a lot of them would say it privately, but they were scared.
All their interviews would get taken down on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's again going back. I'm trying not to, on the one hand, put my foot in one camp and say DeSantis bad, DeSantis good. I'm trying to just judge what's happening on the screen as it's happening. And again, we can't forget how hard he did fight for these things that matter very, very, very much. At least to me. I know they matter to some of you guys, but at least they very much matter to me. And so, as much as I'm willing to say, as a candidate, I won't, talk down on the man. I won't do that. I want to Phil said he needs Trump's PR team. Does Trump have a PR team? I think Trump is the PR team. And even said if he says vessel one more time, to be fair, I rewound it. But you're right. So agrees with Zippy. Growing up in the 90s, it was just an everyday insult. Just saying like, dude, cowbunga, or eat my shorts. Yeah. Retard and the F slur, which we're still working on getting that one back into the lexicon. But at least I can say retarded. If I say the other one, it's not gonna be good. But those two should not have been taken off the table. I will die on that hill, just not on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. We're all on the same team. We're all on the same team.
They would get So, but Joe, I think is an example of what you need to be able to deal with this medical.
So okay, so let's go. Okay, fair enough, because even Republicans
I didn't think of this because we always assign this to the lefties, but he did go to Harvard and Yale. If he's saying, it sounds like he's overeducated a lot of that academia. Spot on. I think you're right.
Say why is the president keep bragging about the fact that the warp speed, the vaccine saved 100 million people's lives? I don't even want it to some people.
False. That's totally false.
But the point when he's saying that, right? But let's set that part aside. When I show the clip of that video, and the left sits there and says, look at these guys. They can't even figure out who they want to be the Speaker of the House. They can't even figure out how to do this. Look at this McCarthy, and look at this Mike Johnson. Look what they're going to kick him out as well. And
if anybody knows a decent amount about Mike Johnson, that is the guy, right? The new Speaker. I would love to have a conversation because I'd never heard of him before. I've seen some clips since he's been named Speaker. Seems like a cool dude, but let me know.
It shows a not a unified party. But I want to go back with Trump. Mm-hmm. Would you have won your first term when you won by 34,000? I read your book the moment it came. The day your book came out, I read. I'm probably one of the first people that read your
F, not S. F, like EFG, FAG. Overtime.
Book. Would you have won governorship first time if he doesn't endorse you and put those tweets about you? Would you have won by 34,000?
Well, here's what I mean. The test of that is I won by 34,000 with his endorsement.
Okay.
4 years later, he attacked me 3 days before the election. And
yes, but you already had the stature from the original endorsement. If he never endorsed you in the first place, he never would have had to attack you because you have never would have been a threat. Exactly. There you go.
Won by 1 point.
No, but even no, because they say just the first part. Yeah, I can do without that. I like the Bill Burr bit. What are you? I like that, but the T really it just right. It just hit different. You know what I mean?
0.5 million votes. So he was at a rally in Pennsylvania. He started launching attacks against me. So not only did he not support me in my reelection,
but the first time, hostile. Would you have won the first time?
Look, yes, I
That's an easy fucking question. That's an easy question. And again, you should already know that these types of things are going to be asked. So either you say, of course I would have won. Yes, Donald Trump did an amazing job to help me, but I won on the merits of this, that, and that, and that. Or you say, no, I don't think so. You're right. Probably not. Nobody would even know my name had it not been for Donald Trump. That doesn't mean that now that they do know that anything has changed about who I am. They just know who it is now. Either one of those works. I'm not a politician. I'm just a fucking dude sitting around. How am I better at this than you?
was at a rally in Pennsylvania. He started launching attacks against me. So not only did he not support me in my reelection,
but the first time,
hostile.
Would you have won the first time?
Look, yes, I would have.
You think you would have won the first time?
Yeah. Even you know, you don't think that.
Because here's the thing.
He says here's the thing a lot as well. So he said the thing about academic TMI. I noticed two things: circular arguments and just trying to hash data. DeSantis is like me. There's no such thing as too much data or info. So he says, goes on to say, I see info as info and I deal with the info, but communication requires the info to be packaged. And that's something I struggle with. Well, I mean, goddamn, if that's not the clearest thing Zippy has ever said, let's take how about an irony drink? While Zippy's talking about how hard it is for him to communicate, perfectly communicates a very complex thought. Shout out to Zippy. Shout out to Zippy with Suzanne co-signing. Well said, sir.
If you look at the voters who opposed me the first time versus the voters who then supported me the next time, the number one reason they flipped from against to for in 4 years was Trump. Trump was a factor in 2018. It didn't matter what I did. They were going to vote against me. That was the reason. They viewed me as that.
Fair.
And it was a blue wave across the country. I mean, remember, Republicans got wiped out across the country.
Right. So you won despite that. You won despite that. That affected you as well. It's just that you were in a different light because of the endorsement you got in the first place. Now, what I would love to ask, if I was PBD, would you have the balls to go against Trump if he had never endorsed you in the first place? That is what I want to know. Because if you know that Daddy Trump's got your back, it's one thing. But if you're just out here and it's like, oh man, what would you have done? Now, again, we know that he's going to say, of course I would have done that. But as we are seeing, the answers, the way that he's answering these questions is telling us a lot more than what he's actually saying. Shout out to Bailey. Welcome to the party, baby. Good to see ya.
I mean, we got wiped out in the House. We lost a bunch of
There was no
governorships.
red wave, is what you're talking about.
There was a blue wave.
There was a blue wave.
It was
yes.
a snapback against Trump, and that's natural for a first year in the midterm. But here's the thing: you get into office, and the question is, what do you do with it? And I've done more with it than anybody who's been in a similar situation. The policy success we've had, the leadership in crisis, and then moving the political pendulum in a direction that we've done is just you cannot argue.
I don't know if I
those
disagree with
results.
I don't know if I.
Okay, he saved it at the end with the political pendulum because that's a visual, that's a thing people understand. But well, we won with the policies and the this and the that and the that. Say the thing. We won with this policy. We won when they tried to do X. We did Y. We won battles. Do you see the difference?
I disagree with that. The only thing I think about is a guy helped you. There's a difference between being a mayor. Like I'm sure when you see a mayor, like, dude, you're a mayor, right? There's a difference between being a mayor or Congress or Senate or governor of Florida, California, New York, Texas. These are big states. You're running a country. You're not running a state. If you look at the data,
13th largest economy in the world.
That's right. But the point is, that part. What do you say to the audience when they look at you and say, "Okay, Governor, I love your policies. I'm very happy. I'd love, for you to be a president. I think you have a lot of great qualities of being a president. You're a family guy. You're this, you're that. Mm-hmm. But what do you say to the faction that says, but the guy gave you an opportunity to be a governor. How about show loyalty to that guy? What do you say to those people?
How's it showing loyalty when he attacks me 3 days before my reelection? I had never done anything to him.
I don't know that was the right approach. So the question, PBD is not claiming. He's not making the claim. He's addressing the fact that the claim is out there. And Ron immediately goes onto the defensive and answers the question with a defense. Answers the question with a question. This is interesting.
Not the president. I think you have a lot of great qualities of being a president. You're a family guy. You're this, you're that. But what do you say to the faction that says, but the guy gave you an opportunity to be a governor. How about show loyalty to that guy? So again, PBD is not saying, hey, Ron, I'm asking you why you don't. No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying there are people out there who think this thing. What do you say to them? Well, how is it this? Ron defensive. Oh my God. Ron defensive. I think that's the winner. Ron defensive. It's too easy. It rolls off the tongue like butter. Either way. Either way. Perfect. CG said he hit me first. Doesn't work on the playground. It's whoever got knocked out. Facts. Let's hear this one more time. To the audience when they look at you and say, okay, so Governor, I love your policies. I'm very happy. I'd love, for you to be a president. I think you have a lot of great qualities of being a president. You're a family guy. You're this, you're that. But what do you say to the faction that says, but the guy gave you an opportunity to be a governor. How about show loyalty to that guy? What do you say to those people?
How's it showing loyalty when he attacks me 3 days before my reelection? I had never done anything to him. Even all the Fauci stuff, I kept that private.
That 3 days before, how much prior to that did you and him communicate? Were you guys regularly communicating?
Good question.
Or not really?
I don't really remember, but I mean, at that point, that was kind of a line in the sand. Like, okay, all right, that's what and I have no problem with politics. It is what it is. But like, we were trying to engineer a red wave around this country, and to not saddle up and be a team player in that situation to do it, that was wrong. Honestly, I mean, we set a record here for what we did. So it either didn't affect or was even helpful in hindsight. But
real quick, let's take a puppy break. It is time for the communion tithe to the Indian Jesus. Do you not want them? Oh, he's really scared. Look, they're peanuts and he doesn't even want them. All right. Sit down. No, you're going to rip the microphone out. Just sit down. There we go. All right. I mean, he really doesn't want it. Let me try again. That's crazy. I've never seen him. What's the matter? Oh, scared puppy. Anyway, moving on. All right. What did we just say?
Situation to do it, that was wrong. Honestly, I mean, we set a record here for what we.
It's raining and he doesn't. There's a skylight that is now covered, but it used to be just a window, so he hates the thunder. Rain was fine, but then when the rain, it was like that thick summer rain came and it was like all over the skylight. Now, whenever it rains, he just goes into Chihuahua shake mode. So. I've never seen him. Like, I've seen him not, you guys have seen when he wouldn't come up. I've never seen him not even want to eat. Let's try it. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Come on, bro. It's steak. I promise. No. Okay. We will leave you alone. We got an extra one here from Unwanted Foe. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. And you know, as soon as the show is over, he's thank you. Suzanne says, Kristi Noem has remained a firm supporter of Trump and America First. She fully reopened her state after the first 2 weeks and was loudly against COVID policies. Trump supports her. It's you, Ronnie. Apparently
we did. So it either didn't affect or was even helpful in hindsight. But that's just the reality. So you can go and do that to other candidates, and somehow that's not supposed to change anything. The reality is he did that because he cared more about himself than he did about the greater good. The greater good was clearly I win re-election in
Please stop
Florida,
after this
we win
sentence.
super majorities, and we continue to implement the agenda. That's the greater good from a conservative perspective. There's no reason you should have been out there taking pot shots at me or anybody in Florida. And of course, he's trashed Florida repeatedly over the last year. He gets on social media. He said Cuomo did better in New York.
I've heard all of that. And it's nonsense.
But that
doesn't make any sense.
But I wasn't a candidate when he was doing that.
Right.
He was doing that on his own because he was upset that
totally
I did well.
Yeah.
So it's all about him.
Yeah.
So he says Newsom did better. He said Cuomo did better. Now his whole family moved to Florida under my governorship, but put that aside. He has used very left-wing media sources to say crazy things about Florida.
Yeah.
So that's what he's done. So what is that? He's not held accountable for anything. I mean, there's a strain of people that he can go out and say whatever he wants, and somehow that's fine. And then you say anything, then all of a sudden, no, that's not the way it works. You put
Actually, Ron, that is the way it works. Why? Because that's the way it plays out. It isn't fair. It isn't equal, but that is the way it works. You just explained that is how it works. So you can't say, well, that's not how it works. It worked like that, homie. Sorry.
big boy pants on. You're held accountable for your conduct. He chose to make those statements, and that's fine, but those are false statements.
If you believe that you would have won 34,000 without those three tweets, or without him endorsing you and him bringing you up, and he's like, look at him, he's feeling your shoulders. I remember that scene where it's like, look at this guy, he's like a strong guy. If you believe you would have won without him, fair. But to the voter that thinks that gave you the tipping point to win, different story. They're like, listen, you got to give this guy a little bit. He's the reason why you won the first time as governor.
Okay.
Now, I disagree with that statement. I disagree with, okay, if you're going to admit that he helped you, that now you owe him this, that, and the other. If you're both in the same position of fighting for president, then no, I disagree that you owe him this, that, or the other. If he's going after you first, fine. I'm with Ron there. The defensive-ness. It's, hey, I wish he would have been, a little bit nicer. I thought we were on the same team. I was trying to move this country forward, but he wanted to get into personal spats, and I chose to go a different way. Yeah. This isn't that hard, bro. This isn't that hard. I swear I'm not this good at this. I swear I didn't sit down and write notes on what I'm going to give a better answer. I'm going to pretend that I didn't see it, and then I'm going to seem like I'm smarter than Ron DeSantis. I'm just sitting here. I'm just listening to the questions while I got seven other things going on. This is your life. You are trying to run for president. Why am I better at this than you? I don't get it. Billy says you can't play politics while admitting to playing politics. He's giving the game up right now. Exactly. You can't act like it's okay to lie because you're going to lie. You can't act like you're doing favors is wrong because you're going to be doing favors. This is politics. Exactly right, Billy. Shout out to Unwanted Foes and Righow. Ron going his own way. Yeah, more like Ron going the home way. We got somebody over on Kick. Shout out to Kiwovo. Said free Israel. Down with that. Welcome to the party. Unfortunately, I can't pull the Kick chats up, but very glad to see you. Welcome to the party.
So, but here's the thing. Okay, so therefore, then what if you believe that? Therefore, if I don't think he's able to win the 2024 election, I'm supposed to not do what I think is right.
Run. No, you should run.
If I don't think he can drain the swamp, if I don't think he's going to be able to get a position to do it, the country is more important.
There you go, Ron. There you go. That is what I just said. Exactly. I don't want to get in this petty BS about who's better. I care about America. This is what you need to be doing.
Endorsements here or there.
Did you have a conversation before you ran? Did you have a conversation with him saying, hey, President, I'm thinking about running? Did you have any conversation with him?
I have not talked to him since he started attacking me.
No.
Shout out to you guys, and shout out to Nick saying you guys have made the chat better than a comedy special. That is all I ever wanted, a chat that we could come and hang out. You guys are awesome. And welcome, Kiwovo, to the chat.
Oh, but let's just say you're having a thought, okay? So, for example, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about starting my own business. Before I started my own insurance company, and I made a run to start my own insurance company, I just got married. I had a meeting with the people I respect, and I said, guys, did you have that kind
I
of
wasn't thinking about, no, because the reason why is I had a lot of people really from the end of the 2020 election.
Yep.
I've had people telling me you should run or not. But my view was, look, I got more to do here. I had re-election. And then even after the re-election, that was kind of the thing where all these other candidates did poorly.
Yeah.
I showed the Republicans the way to win nationally. And people said, if we can do that, we're going to do very well in 24. However, even with that.
See, what was that? What was that little... Like, I'm not trying to make fun of him. I'm just asking, what did I just see?
Win nationally, and people said, if we can do that, we're going to do very well in 24. How?
I mean, like, maybe he just had something in his eye, but why is there always a thing? The weird smile, the boo, like, I'm just, people pay attention to this stuff when you're running for president.
However, even with that, I had my head down. I got all the stuff I promised in the campaign. I got done all of that in the legislative session. We were knocking out all kinds of issues that conservatives have been dreaming about for years. So we got that done. So that's just how I think. That was my frame of mind. You know, I said, if there's things happen for a reason, and either they'll happen or they're not. But I wasn't 2 years ago saying I'm going to do, because I had so much in front of me on my plate. I had to show political success, because it's one thing to take these positions. It's one thing to take leadership stands, and you don't do it for politics. And I'm sure it was stupid politically in the short term for me to do some of the stuff I've done. But you do need validation at some point to show that this is a
Oh my God, stop talking. Bailey, that's exactly what our running poll is. So I'm hoping that you've voted in that. Again, if you are watching this on the clip or the replay, do you think Ron DeSantis is on the autism spectrum? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. Wonderful said it could be a tick. Could be a tick. He's just got, maybe he's been watching too much TikTok, and he's adapting the tics of the Tourette's TikTokers that he listens to. That's a real thing that happens to real kids. Suzanne says his own way to the White House. That was the problem. Trump knew who he was talking to, when, and why. 2020 Ron just said so. Exactly. Nick said, is it just me, or does it look like the safety deposit box is behind him? Yeah, that's just the, the lockers, and then everybody signs. You're seeing different, you're seeing him shift into these modes where he's saying the thing he's supposed to say, and then he's kind of going off book. I think if he trusts himself to go off book a little more often, he'll be better at that. He's rambly when he goes off. Well, actually, I don't know. It seems like he's the on book stuff is rambly, but either way, if he can practice just being in the moment, like Vivek does. Now, again, Trump is Trump, so Trump is going to do what Trump's going to do. But Vivek was able to figure out, okay, the landscape has changed. I need to be in the pocket. I need to be listening. I don't need to have all the answers. I just need to show that I'm present. I'm willing to find the answers. DeSantis is trying to sit here and be like, nope, I got it. Trust me. It's me. No, not him. No, it's me. Trust me. Just vote for me. Trust me. They fought me on this in Florida, and I won in Florida, so I can be the president.
Sustainable model, Florida's model, and we showed that, and we were able to do it.
You 100%. So back then there was always the talk: should he run? Should he not run? It's like, no. Listen, when's the next time you're gonna have a chance for you to have this great of a resume during the most unpredictable season we've had in the last 40 years, 50 years, and you proved yourself and you ran? You should have ran. That's not what I'm saying. My only thing is, was there that conversation to say, you were before me, you helped me with my first governorship, can I have a conversation? This is what I'm thinking. I'd like us to be unified when we go out to the public. That is the only conversation I'm having. Let me go to the...
That would have been brilliant. That would have kept you out of all of this. And that likely would have made you the VP. Not anymore. Excuse me. Zippy said, Ron is like scripted TV. Only when he is on script is he boring and rambling. When he's off the script, he's more himself and less stiff. I mean, I don't know about the scripted TV part. I love some scripted TV, and that is very much scripted and typically not as rambly and boring when it's scripted well. But agreed. When he's off, when he feels more comfortable, he seems to be able to connect better. I don't think he understands that is his strength. CT said, Clue could have been a show. What? Clue? No, I got that part. Who's Clue? Clue could have been a shoo-in for VP. Clue, Vivek, Ron, what? Who could have been a shoo-in for victory? Not wasted millions in the campaign. Then, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Zippy says Ron needs a pirate helper. Okay, sure. Suzanne said he reminds me of that girl from band camp that one time in Florida. Good one. Shout out to Allison. I should know her name. Oh my God. No. Oh, come on. Only because How I Met Your Mother is the best show ever. Allison. Not Finnegan. God damn it. Allison Hannigan. I was so close. Allison Hannigan. Shout out. If you are not a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother, and even worse, if you think the ending was bad, then you're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what made the whole show. Anyway, moving along.
There, that conversation to say, you were before me, you helped me with my first governorship. Can I have a conversation? This is what I'm thinking. I'd like us to be unified when we go out to the public. That is the only conversation I'm having. Let me go to the next conversation.
A married man.
Topic here. Okay. So when I think about presidents, I think about two different types of presidents. I think about a president that's an alpha. And then I think about presidents that are flag carriers. Let me explain both.
Okay. So let's see. We have our running poll that has been pretty, pretty even all the way along. So I'm going to end it here. I'm going to finish the sentence and then I'm going to end it. So if you haven't voted, vote. So we have the poll. Do you think Ron DeSantis is on the autism spectrum? Like I said, it's been going back and forth. It's been 50-50 most of the time. But right now, it is ending at 55% of you saying no. Very, very interesting. So then let's start a new poll, and which is Ron. So there is an alpha. And actually, I'm going to let him explain first, because I don't want you guys voting just based on the word. So let him explain.
When I think about presidents, I think about two different types of presidents. I think about a president that's an alpha. And then I think about presidents that are flag carriers. Let me explain to both. Alpha to me is Lincoln was an alpha. Ulysses S. Grant is a flag carrier. He became a two-term after him. Reagan, alpha. Senior, flag carrier. Kennedy, alpha.
Okay.
If you go to, we got a list of them. We can go to Ike, alpha. Nixon, flag carrier, great president. You take Watergate out, Nixon was one of the better presidents we had in the last 50 years. You go to Obama, alpha. Clinton, alpha. Bush, flag carrier to his father.
Okay, yep.
Trump, alpha. Do you view yourself as an alpha candidate or a flag carrier?
Okay, so do we understand PBD's difference, or PBD's categorization of, are you a flag carrier or are you an alpha? It's not, we're not talking about Andrew Tate. We're not talking about fresh and fit. That's not what we're talking about. So he's saying one is more of somebody who comes in with their own ideas and is looking to push their, their own, personal view of America and all that stuff. There's a lot more to it. Versus a flag carrier who's somebody who is in doesn't necessarily need to push this revolutionary type of thing where the country's in a good spot. And so you just maintain what is good. And I don't think I don't think PBD would say either of them is better or worse. But they're very different. And I agree. This is a great question. So the alpha is more, to put it more simply, I would think that PBD would agree that the alpha presidents tend to be more in when the country is at its worst and we need a little bit stronger of somebody to bring us there. And then the flag carrier comes in when the things are doing pretty well, and it's more about maintaining and showing the world that even if that alpha guy isn't here, we are America, and we are still going to be that guy, that country. Do we all understand? So he says, Bush Sr. was the leader of the CIA. Reagan had dementia in his second term. I got his point, but disagree with his examples. Fair enough. We don't have to agree with that dichotomy. I just want to make sure we are on the same page. So Susanna's saying trailblazer and custodian would be better. I think those are. I agree with you. I don't like the way that he says flag carrier versus alpha, because clearly the way that we use those words, obviously you would want to be an alpha. But maybe he purposely said that because he sees Ron as a flag carrier type of president who could be a great flag carrier president as long as he understands that's who he is and that's what he should lean into. Very interesting question. All right, so is he an alpha or a flag carrier?
Carrier candidate.
No, you're a leader, of course. I mean, you look at what we've done in Florida. We blazed a trail. I wasn't carrying anyone's flag. I was the one leading. I was calling the...
You weren't carrying the American flag? You weren't carrying the MAGA flag? Just saying.
shots. I was getting out.
You think there's anything wrong with carrying a flag?
What's that?
You think there's anything wrong with carrying a flag? Someone's got to carry your flag and be your VP.
There's nothing wrong with it, but the question is, you know, if you look at Reagan, he set kind of the standard. So 41 was operating in his shadow to kind of carry on the legacy. But Reagan represented the break from the failure of the Carter to the present. Just like I represented kind of Florida we're going against the establishment.
Okay, but that's Florida, homie. What we're talking about is what you are going to do for America. So if you're saying that you're an alpha, then again, you are still coming off the heels of a non-president. So the flag carrier position would be, or the custodian, to use Suzanne's words. The custodian would be to say, I'm going to maintain the MAGA life that you had. I'm going to bring that back and maintain that because he was the alpha and he did it right, but I'm just going to do it better. By saying he is a trailblazer and that he's going to change things, a lot of people don't want things changed from the big change we just had. A lot of people liked the trailblazing of Trump and kind of want to maintain that. So maybe we do want a flag carrier. I know I do. Suzanne said, if your country's in good shape, you need a flag carrier, a good caretaker. You need a risk taker when the risks are high. Well said. Zebby said, Ron would be a better VP, as the president is the front man of the band and leads the direction of the band. Yeah, he's just, he is a leader. But with the landscape, you're just not the guy. You're just not the guy. So the Soul agrees with Suzanne, and CT says, this is a great question. PBD is a good interviewer sometimes. That's what I mean. You know, I hate that all the good guests always go on his show because we end up covering him a lot. And then, you know, when I'm doing clips, it's like PBD. But hey, if it's good, then it's good, right? I mean, shout out to he would be a better governor. Oh my God. Yeah.
Just like I represented kind of Florida we're going against the establishment. We're going against the COVID insanity. We're going against the gender insanity, that we're planting a flag or not. No, we're taking a stand.
Whoops. Said the quiet part out loud. We're going to plant a flag and we're going to carry that flag throughout the entire presidency. Oops. Let's just real quick.
We're going against the establishment. We're going against the COVID insanity. We're going against the gender insanity, that we're planting a flag or not. No, we're taking a stand and then we're going to push forward. And so that's what we've done. And I think that's what we need in Washington. That everything's going in the wrong direction. So you need an abrupt shift where this bureaucracy is reconstitutionalized, where you're able to open up all the energy production.
Yes, but we already did that with Trump. So what we are saying is that we, in this, in PBD, you know, in the way that PBD has set this up, what we're saying is that we want somebody to be a flag carrier for the world that Trump created, because Biden was so ineffective at everything that we're kind of just we're not living in a Biden world, we're living in a post-Trump world.
Reverse Bidenomics, have good people that'll work for you, because you can make the best decisions in the world. You've got to have people that are going to implement that policy in a very hostile bureaucracy.
So you are going to change the people you have around you now? Or are you going to keep the ones that are fucking your shit up? Or you picked them in the first place because they were good, but you were wrong? Gotta watch your words here, bro.
And if you don't have that, then you're going to end up getting kneecapped.
Well, you don't have that, Ron. So based on your own words, you're going to get kneecapped.
But that's going to represent a significant break from how this country has been governed for the last 2 or 3 decades. But we need it because I think the direction that we're going is not sustainable. And this country will fail unless we get an American revival.
Again, I would say that Trump brought that. And yes, it has been weighed down by the non-president who that Joe Biden is. But there is no revolution that needs to, there's no revolution that needs to happen. It's already there. All you need to do is carry the flag for the revolution. I'm going to go back and disagree with Suzanne that Trailblazer and Custodian are better because I think this is perfect. I would not use the word alpha. I would use maybe something a little, Trailblazer and flag carrier. Let's go. Let's split it 50-50. Trailblazer or flag carrier. I think those are perfect categories for this. And I think he would be an amazing flag carrier. But he wants to be an alpha. And he's not an alpha. You got to know who you are. Play to your strengths. That's not what he's doing. He's trying to project this image of somebody that he's not. And I understand. This is, again, that's politics. But at a certain point, you have to be able to live up somewhat to this character that you're projecting. Otherwise, it's just going to all crumble on you. So not only are you making promises of character that you can't live up to, but the promises themselves are like not really what people are looking for in the first place. Because we already have a Trump. If we really do need that alpha, then homie, you ain't that guy. So if I'm Ron right now, I'm like, oh no, we had years of turmoil. I completely respect what Donald Trump did, and that's why we were so close for so long. And he went in, and he was really the bull in the china shop. And maybe he didn't drain the swamp, but he certainly exposed it. But now we need somebody to go in there and clean up the mess. Understand that it was a mess before, but it was a nicely packaged mess. Now everything is strewn about, and I'm going to be the one to go in there and finish the job that Trump was not allowed to finish. Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? Why is that so difficult for him to get there? Like, Suzanne said, how can DeSantis create an abrupt stop without upsetting his hedge fund backers? He can't, bro. He can't. Good point. Good point. Stephanie Miller says, I wish he could be Trump's VP, then be president. But for one, he and Trump are at odds. And 2, I don't think they're going to let Trump be president. I hate it, but they are working too hard to stop it. I mean, I definitely think they're working as hard as they can. I continue to have faith in the entire American project, and that despite what all of these people think about saving our democracy, they are the ones who are going against the will of the people. But I have no reason to think that Ron would do better as VP or president than Vivek. I already think Vivek would be a better president than Trump. Specifically because he would lean in to that flag carrier role. He knows Trump did Trump's shit. Trump did Trump. We done had Trump. Now we need the flag carrier. This is brilliant. This idea is, of alpha, which I would prefer Trailblazer to flag carrier. Brilliant idea. CT said PBD is really setting him up for a future campaign promise. If he said he would carry the MAGA flag in the future, it would diffuse all the tension. Yep. Suzanne said Vivek has pitched himself as Trump's flag carrier, and the public love it. Exactly. So because all the things they're doing to stop Trump is empowering Trump.
Bingo.
They don't get it. They're just one step behind. They're like, well, okay, we're going to arrest him, and then he's really going to go down. Like, well, no, that's... next thing we'll be like, oh, whoa, what's ass an 8? Him. That'll really make people hate him. CT says, it seems like he's betting on Trump being off the ballot when he should be fighting against that. Yep. And so when we go back to the question about, well, is this really about the policies and the GOP and moving America forward, or is it about your personal gain?
Let's talk about Newsom against you, the debate. I understand a year ago for you guys to debate, that made sense. I understand even 7 months ago. To choose to debate with him now is a little weird to me because you're in the playoffs. He didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
He's not even in the playoffs, right?
That being said, so they're talking about the Newsom debate that he set up. That being said, I do think they are going to force they're going to have a way to force Newsom in there and be somebody relevant. Remember, it's not even November 2023. There's a lot of time left. There's a lot of time left. So would anybody be able to believe it if Biden won again? I mean, believe he actually won in an honest, fair election? Sadly, yes. Sadly, yes. The TDS is that bad. I mean, I wouldn't have believed he won in the first place. That button's not supposed to do that. Okay. I didn't think he would win in the first place. So the fact that he already won and now he's the incumbent, I don't see why not.
Only thing I get when I see something like this is where you two may a year ago have thought neither Trump nor Biden's going to be there at the end. It's going to be the two of you. America wants a younger face. America wants a younger president. That's who we want as a candidate. So let's go ahead and do that. There is no winning for you debating Newsom.
No, there is. Look, yes. Here's the
I'd
reason
love to know why. I'd love to know why.
Okay, well, so that's PBD's position is that you're putting similar to what you're doing right now. You're putting yourself out there, and it could possibly go bad. And it could go good, but you don't need that. So maybe don't do that. Put a 1 in the chat if you think he should, or put a 1 in the chat if you think it will work out well for DeSantis to debate Gavin Newsom. Put a 2 if you think he shouldn't do it.
Because this whole business is you got to get attention. You got to get on voters' minds, and
you got to get good attention.
And for most of the past 6 months, it's been mostly focusing on everything that's happening legally with the former president. That has drowned out a lot of stuff. This is going to be something that's going to cut through. It's going to get a lot of attention. It's a good debate for the country. So that's one reason, because I want a forum to be able to articulate my message.
You mean like you have right now without the possibility of somebody like who's actively trying to take down not just you but all of your colleagues? Just saying, like you don't like we have the internet. You don't need a forum like that. Nobody else has a guess. Only Soul the Soul. Nobody has an opinion on. There we go. Nick says 2. 2 is that he shouldn't do it. I want to said the less he speaks, he has a smaller amount of rambling. Yep. CT said, I think the Trump Vivek ticket is super interesting. Vivek outlined a plan to take different federal agencies, to take out different federal agencies. Something Trump wants to do, but didn't have a plan. Yep. I don't see any way that like I definitely could have seen that without the false start that DeSantis had. That if he came out strong, then I'd be like, okay, I don't see how Vivek is going to get not only above DeSantis, but above Trump and all of that. Of course, there's the aspect of, is Trump going to be on the ballot? That really changes everything. But again, the GOP race is really for who's going to be in the VP or wherever else in the cabinet. There's just a meaningful difference between when Vivek talks versus when DeSantis talks. Since Newsom will eat him for breakfast. Hey, we got Pooh Cooter in the building. Welcome to the party. So what's the ostensible purpose of this debate if Newsom isn't officially running yet? I mean, good point. But I think it's a matter of we know that he's going to be, they're going to do, the DNC is going to do whatever they can to get Biden out and Newsom in. I think it's, yes, you're correct. It's a little bit early, but that's not the issue that I have with it. Welcome to the party, brother. Amanda Foe said Newsom would lose regardless, but so would Ronnie. It would be a no-win situation for either side. I agree with you. Actually, I don't. I disagree. Nope. I think it would be a win. I think it would be a win-win because it would have to be about culture war issues where there's such a divide and you're not looking for common ground. You're just playing to the audience. So all you have to do is when we could make jokes about California that would play with any conservative, Republican, whatever, and Newsom would be able to easily caricature and strawman the GOP in a way that would get him be like, oh, did you see how he took it to the Republicans? I initially was thinking that it would be lose-lose like you're saying, but I think it's win-win. I think it's win-win. Nope. I take it back. It's win-win for us. It's win-win for us. For him and for Newsom, you're right. For the voters, it's a win-win. Yeah, I think with that, because then as voters, we have more content there to point at the other side. But for Newsom and DeSantis, Montevo spot on. CT said the fact that Newsom is even in the discussion while Target and Walmart are pulling out of California cities is scary. It would be a rough 4 years. Nick says Newsom living in California is one of my biggest fears. I'm in California, so I know exactly how bad he is. I'd rather be dead than have that traitor become president. Yikes. So the Soul said, unfortunately, gruesome Newsom is still treated as some sort of media darling. That's what I'm saying. They love him. The left loves him. I wonder if folks said, I just don't believe that Newsom can get over his political past. And yes, it would be great for our content. Definitely would. So yeah, he wants a forum where he can articulate his message.
So that's one reason, because I want a forum to be able to articulate my message. It is not, though, a debate about California versus Florida, because that debate is over. People have voted with their feet.
True.
They've left California in record numbers. They've moved to Florida in record numbers. What it is a debate on is about the future of the country. So California represents the petri dish of American leftism. They're 5 years ahead of whatever Biden's people are cooking up in D.C. So if you want to know what America would look like 2024 Biden, or maybe a Newsom or a Harris, just look to California. California is a recipe
to accelerate
the decline of this country.
Pause there. Then go on to talking about Florida.
Florida is a model to reverse the decline of the country and engineer a revival of the American spirit and a new birth of freedom. And finally, the reason to debate, he might be the candidate. I mean, I think that the Republican voters, we need a candidate that's going to be able to take on all comers. I mean, we look at Biden, we say, yeah, he's over the hill, he's weak, and I think that's true. But they may go with Newsom. They may go with Harris. They may go with somebody else. Yeah. That could happen, and
they are not going with Kamala Harris.
Just have to be prepared for that. But it isn't because I think that necessarily he's going to be the candidate. I think it's an important debate. I think it's an important opportunity for me to be able to express my record and my views in a way that's going to be largely unfiltered, because I think we're going to have a 90 minutes to 2 hours that we're going to do. And I'll bet
unfiltered based on the questions that we give and the time limit that we give you, right?
That may get more viewers than the last Fox debate did that we did at the Reagan Library.
I think this may get more viewers than the last debate with Fox. I mean, I hate to say that. I was there myself, and people were walking out of that debate. It wasn't the craziest debate to be at. Okay,
I am so glad. I was thinking because it was going on when we were live, and I was thinking, that's newsworthy. We should cover that. And I don't even remember what we covered that night, but I'm so glad. Like, yes. This happened today, hours ago. The last thing that we did with Tim Pool and Cenk Uygur happened that same day. that's not necessarily super typical. I try to use stuff that is happening and that day, that week at the very least. But I have something else that if nothing, comes up for Wednesday, that's more evergreen. And I still think it has the same effect because what we really are focusing on is not the news, but we're focusing on the political landscape. And so big difference between somebody who's reporting the news, which I am not purporting to do. I am not a news guy. You're not going to get your headlines from me, but there's a slight difference in what I do. I think that is that gives me the freedom to be able to be like, all right, if Republican debate, let's talk about something else. Where are we? Yeah, so the Soul says, unfortunately, we got that one. Would be great for content. Yep. Suzanne said, Newsom has the gift, the political charisma. He smashed all of them at their own debate. Yep. Vivek would eat him alive. Absolutely. Unquestionably. That is what I want to see, where we have maybe 2 or 3 people on the left and 2 or 3 people on the right, and they're all going at it. That is a debate that I want to see. CD said it would be an important debate. DeSantis can be good one-on-one. Hope he destroys Newsom. And again, that's why I say it's going to be a win for the viewers, because if and when they debate, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, fucking got him. Yeah, DeSantis. Oh, there's stuff that you just, with our perspective, you can't run away from. And DeSantis seems to know what those things are and seems to know how to hit on those things. But at the same time, those things are only different. No, the debate didn't happen yet. They're working on it. But the right. I covered when I think that was the second one when Trump was on Megyn Kelly. But the it's gonna the left is going to very easily be able to take the BS that Newsom says and ride with it and be like, oh, of course you're racist, transphobic, this, that, the xenophobic, all of that stuff. And the left's going to be like, yeah, you tell the racist Republican. So everybody, it's going to be moot because everybody is going to think that their own side won, which is usually what happens in debates anyway, which is why that style of debate is pretty fucking useless. But I think one-on-one, maybe we could change like 4 people's minds, maybe 5, but probably not. Except Ron better hide the Indian Jesus advisor and speech coach as I messed that up. Wow. I guess I just lost the job. Zan said, Newsom's commentary, he is a serious threat. Absolutely, he's a serious threat. Yeah, and there, DeSantis is right. Like, if you want to see what they want to do to the country, look at what California is doing now. The rest of the country is 5 years behind. Ooh, backing out. That would be a bad look. I'm trying to think what are the larger implications of that? Because you can't back out of a debate against Ron DeSantis and then try to run for president. Like, you don't want to debate Trump? Oh, I don't want to platform him and blah, 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 blah. Fine, you can get away with that. But Ron DeSantis, you didn't debate him, and now you're going to beat him as the president? Never mind Trump. I'm not even talking about Trump. Trump is still in it. I'm just saying you're going to end up higher than DeSantis, and you wouldn't even debate him? Come on. Are you suggesting Peter Boghossian with 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans? That would be awesome. Some street epistemology. See what they really think. Like, oh, everybody start out neutral. Okay, but ask the question. Nobody move until I say go. Can you define woman in 3 words or less? 3, 2, 1, go.
Talk about attention. Are you the type of person, like I have people around me that love to say, hey, Pat, you got something between your teeth. These are the annoying people in your life, right? Hey, Pat, pull your zipper up. Hey, Pat, do this.
Annoying? Hey, hold on. Oh, whoa, Don. If you got something in your teeth, I'm not going to be annoying about it, but I don't want you walking around with bullshit in your teeth. I mean, you got a little something. If your zipper's down, I'm going to let you know. What's wrong with that? Would you prefer to walk around with broccoli in your teeth and your zipper down?
Hey, pull one of your socks is lower than the other one. I'm sure your marketing team points out how they're trying to troll you in the marketplace. Okay, I'm sure they're doing that. Can you bring this one clip? I know you were on what do you call it? On
so for those of you who didn't know what we were talking about with heels, this is what we're talking about.
Bill Maher, and Bill Maher talked about the boots. I've seen you walk with these boots. Go ahead and play this clip. This on TikTok went viral. It doesn't have 1 million views. It doesn't have.
So let's get rid of the captions here. And so you can see that this is not like if your heel came all the way down to here, then your knee would not be at that angle. Like just look at you, just put your feet on the floor and look. Your knees aren't going up, your knees are going to be flat. Quantic said, good guy. Can you imagine Newsom in America and Trudeau in Canada at the same time? I'd rather not. I'd rather not, because indeed, nightmare fuel it is.
10 million views. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And some people are wondering,
what are they? I don't even. I haven't seen that.
What boots? Boots? What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Take off your boots right now. Let's go.
Okay, what they're trying to say with this is that in your boots you have heels.
No.
That's what they're trying to say.
Those are just standard off the rack Lucchese.
How tall are you, Governor? How tall?
5'11".
5'11". Okay.
Stop the cap.
Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do.
Yep.
Okay, I got a gift for you. I'd love for you to wear. Okay,
I was joking. Oh my God, he brought shoes. He's like, yo. If he actually gets Ron DeSantis to put these shoes on, oh my God.
Shop at Ferragamo.
We are getting real close to the 2.5 hour mark, guys. So if you want to see this,
okay. And
I don't accept gifts. I can't accept it.
I'm
sorry.
We can't accept gifts. Oh, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you that I'm actually as tall as I say that I am. It's the government. That's their rule. I can't accept gifts. Sorry. Yeah, no, I would love to wear those shoes for you. I would be as tall as I am right now. I swear. But can't accept gifts. It's over $27 or whatever the thing is. And even said baller move would be for him to anticipate it. Had boots that just that looked just like that, but were normal and pulled them off. That would have been thinking. But of course he didn't do that. Suzanne's like, oh my God, he bought him the boots. Or he bought him the boots. Why? Who cares how tall he is? Says Stephanie Miller. I don't care how tall he is. What I care about is, are you insecure enough that you're going to wear fake heels so that you look 3 inches taller? It's not about the height. It's about the insecurity. If you're a 5'6" man, hey, I'm going to be looking up at you. Own it. I don't think Vivek is that tall. I think he's a rather, average-sized Indian dude. So it's not about his height. If he was just like, yeah, I'm 5'7". We don't body shame. Maybe a little. Shout out to Unwanted Foe coming back one more time. Oh my goodness. Let's see if he'll actually eat. Will you eat? You don't want it? No? All right. Well, they're over here with the rest of the treats. Thanks to everybody. What does that put you up to? We got, you're already the sponsor of the stream. $15, $14, $14. Thank you so much. And of course, we're going to drive right back in. Thank you to Unwanted Foe.
I'm going to put it here, and Ferragamo can get a nice sponsorship. And then
okay.
If you wear it, you fared. I know.
But here's the thing. I mean, I think with just how politics works is, Yogi Berra, when he was in the Yankees, they said, Yogi, he doesn't look like a Yankee. He doesn't do this.
Yeah.
And Yogi's basically like, okay, if you say I'm ugly, that's fine. But, you don't hit a baseball with your face. And so what we're doing is.
So you mean he owned the physical imperfection, so to speak, instead of pretending that he was an attractive guy when he wasn't. As opposed to you being short and pretending that you're not. I wouldn't tell this story in relation to your height, sir.
is, really, I think doing the issues, the leadership, people that are poking at you for different things, that's fine. But ultimately, that is not, I think it's a sign of strength. I think if people if they could say he was
For
a horrible
sure.
governor, he was this, he was that,
Well, I mean,
then
yes,
they would
it's a sign of
definitely do it.
yes, it's a sign of strength, but you are not showing that strength by specifically not owning up to the fact that those are, come on. Have you ever seen boots like that? Bullshit. Yeah, no, it's not about the height at all. It's about the fact of wow, okay, so CT said 20% of voters care. It's a real thing. I mean, what are those? Good one. I wish I thought of that, but good one. Yes, sir, he is. So let's run it back. Let's run it back and actually look at what happens when this is brought up.
How tall are you, Governor? How tall?
5'11".
5'11". Okay. Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I
He's dressing him down like a child. So why is it that you're not wearing?
work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do.
Yep.
Okay. I got a gift for you. I'd love for you to wear. Okay. I shop at Ferragamo. Okay. And
I don't accept gifts. I can't accept it.
I totally get it.
I'm
but
sorry.
I'm going to put it here, and Ferragamo can get a nice sponsorship.
What is it? I mean, obviously, I'm broken, not into any. Of course, I left it over here, so I can see it, and then I don't know when I'm Ferragamo. Oh, so these are just some straight up shoes. Oh, okay, gotcha. So they're just flat, like they might have a little bit. Let me see. They might have like a little bit of a heel. Yeah. Might have a little bit of a heel there, but I mean, not what a fucking homeboy is rocking. Yeah. Of course you're not gonna wear that. Look at that. You're not wearing that, you fucking pussy. Look at that. You don't have the balls. I'm just letting you know. I would go barefoot and show everybody 5'4". Let's go. 5'4". That's what a real man's height. All right.
And then
Okay.
if you wear it, you fared. I know.
No, but here's the thing. I mean, I think with just how politics works is, Yogi Berra, when he was in the Yankees, they said, Yogi, he doesn't look like a Yankee. He doesn't do this.
Yeah.
And Yogi's basically like, okay, if you say I'm ugly, that's fine, but you don't hit a baseball with your face. And so what we're doing is, really, I think doing the issues, the leadership, people that are poking at you for different things, that's fine. But ultimately,
What did he give Rowan? I don't remember.
that is not, I think it's a sign of strength. I think if they could say he was
For
a horrible
sure. No,
governor, he was this, he was that, then they would definitely do it. But they don't do that because I don't think that they have much there. We've been an exemplary leader. We've gotten things done. We would be somebody that would be obviously a really strong candidate. That's part of the reason the media attacks me and everything like that.
So
So the shoes, are they real or fake? Let's go to our poll. Speaking of, Ron being an alpha or beta, which is Ron? According to PBD's categorizations of presidents, are you an alpha president who brings their own thing, or are you a flag carrier who very respectfully carries along the tradition of what America is supposed to be? And 80% of you agree with me and think that he could be a good flag carrier. But he's so offended by that he doesn't realize that that is what the country needs. This isn't about you, homie. It's public service. Service to the public. Not about you.
I would say this to you. I think if your marketing team talks to you regularly, they either share with you, but you got such a busy schedule. I'm running 9 companies. Half the time I don't even know what's going on. People tell me, did you see this? I'm like, I can't see everything. So I'm sure you're not seeing everything. But I'm a big fan of yours, okay? I'm not a fan of your marketing team. I'm just not. And I can say that comfortably. You can say I have one of the best marketing teams, no problem, because I think your book was a miss. I think there's a lot of opportunity that's been out there that was a miss. I was on a flight one time with Bill O'Reilly.
Why was it a miss?
I think your book...
He's going in.
Could have done very well. And
it was the number 1 book in the country for 2 weeks.
How many? 2 weeks? Isn't that usually like you're a governor running for president? 2 weeks? I think Jada Pinkett Smith had like 2 weeks with her book. I'm pulling that out of my ass. But point being, usually these books stay on the bestseller for 6 months.
Yeah, it's not a long time though. You're a guy that should be the leading candidate for president. You were the best governor during COVID, hands down. Nobody did it better than you. No one. You had a fight. You stood up to these bullies, to all these a-holes that were trying to manipulate the voters like me. And
put a 1 in the chat if you would read DeSantis' book if you didn't have to pay for it. Didn't have to pay for it, but you can't get the audiobook. You have to read it. Put a 1 in the chat if you would do that.
we were walking around as if we're weird, and you stood up for those people. And I loved it. I respected it. I went around defending you constantly, and I'm saying,
he gave Rogan a Jimi Hendrix Mont Blanc pen, handwritten letter from President Andrew Jackson, documents from the Kennedy assassination, Lenny Bruce's personal microphone. God damn. That indeed is a good gift for specifically for Joe, but I mean, god damn. Yeah, Ron is definitely easy to offend. He is. So we got 2 1s, we got 2 2s. I don't know. I'll just download the PDF and put it in text to speech. Fair enough.
sitting there saying, why are we not telling this story? Why are we not going out there selling millions of copies of this book on what you did during COVID? So that to me was a missed opportunity. By the way, your marketing team can hate me. I've talked to most. Just giving my opinion on that.
With the book, I don't.
Yeah.
So most of you, and I'm a 2. I'm right there. Like I mean, mainly because I don't really be reading shit. And Zippy's, I mean, I maybe would go with the audiobook if I could, but I kind of get it. Like I lived it. I kind of get it. Like I wasn't in the governor's mansion with you, but I kind of get it. What happened? Like corrupt bullshit, and you fought it, and I appreciate it, but it doesn't seem that complex. You know what I mean? I mean, I very much appreciate. Absolutely, do I appreciate what he did? But it's like, what is there to say? Quantex says 1. I love PBD, mostly because I'm in the industry he started. Well, I was talking about Ron's book, not PBD, but fair enough. Fair enough. Let's give a shout out to PBD one more time.
I didn't really have a marketing team. I mean, you know, you're doing.
Why? I think probably at least number 3 on the list. If you're going to write a book and then run for president as a government official, marketing should be there. Why did you write a book and then run for president as a government official without a marketing team? Shout out to Vesta Mortis over on Twitch. Welcome to the party. Said he looks like he's 5'11" with heels on. And yeah, that's it. They showed the picture before with the angle of his knees. And it's just like, bro, I'm short. I know what short looks like. And your legs don't go up when you're putting your feet flat on the ground. It just don't happen. Welcome to the party. Welcome.
Doing it, and people sell it or they don't sell it. I go on media and whatnot.
You didn't go around talking to a lot of people about your book.
Nope.
That was a great book.
I was just going to say, I'm just now aware of the fact that there was a book. Oh, and Glomtech takes it back. He's like, nah, I'm not reading that shit. Vesta says knows real facts.
We tried. I mean, yeah, but you know, don't forget, I was also in the midst of the legislative session. I had a lot on my plate, and we were doing a lot of stuff.
I get that. I just think that was a missed
excuses.
Opportunity.
I don't want to hear an excuse from anything from you ever. You're not even the president. I understand that your job is hard. I understand that you've been up against it, but it's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility. Take care of it. Shut up and deliver. well, I had everybody doing this and I didn't have a marketing team. And well, it was supposed to be good. And I promise it's a fun story, but shut up.
If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend you go order the book. There's the book. Rob, put the link below to the book. It ended up becoming a New York Times bestseller, but
for 2 weeks.
It wasn't really talked about enough. I highly recommend everybody to read this book. Okay,
exactly.
A couple other questions here before we wrap up with the last.
Could you imagine Ron reading that on audiobook? Oh man, I wish I had like just an excerpt real quick to just do a little thing. But I'm just imagining it, and that's what I would use to fall asleep at night. That is exactly what I'd use. Just lullaby. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I won't let you down. When Dr. Fauci said we should close down the countries, I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then we kept everything all bad.
16 minutes. By the way, the whole purpose of me showing you this is, you ever seen the movie 8 Mile? You ever seen Eminem's 8 Mile?
Bro, you're like 45. How have you not seen 8 Mile? How is that like, oh yeah, fucking Mom Spaghetti? Who are you? Who are you? How old is he exactly? Ron DeSantis. Yeah, he's 45 years old. There's no fucking way that you're a normal person who I trust in any capacity. You're born. You're born in the mid 1980s and you don't know 8 Mile. That is sus. You film to be fair, that's 2 more weeks than my book was on the New York Times bestseller list. And I also recommended that everybody reads it. Well, I recommend people read your book as well. I'm just going to say, dope that you are on the bestseller list at all, because you're not a governor. You're not running for president. So that's awesome. For him, not so much. Complex impression of Ron saying the courage to be free. I'm watching folks. Notice how PBD is constantly complimenting Ron now. He knows Ronnie is triggered and isn't choosing to hit him even harder. He could kill Ronnie's whole run with the right question.
Bingo.
Yep. And it says the difference is you own it. Ron turns into Napoleon. That alone makes a major difference. Yeah, there ain't nothing you can do about it. Yeah, let's give me the name. Let me drop the link for you. Give me the name. Obviously I should know it, but get the fuck out of here. You don't fucking remember that day either.
Time ago.
You ever seen the last part of 8 Mile when he's going, Eminem's going. Eminem was just at the fight with Ngannou and Fury, and it was a great fight.
I fucking wish I could just show that clip. I just want to show it just so that we're all,
I think Ngannou was going to do that good. He was on the podcast a couple months ago. I'm like, this guy crushed it. So impressive. But the way the movie ends, Eminem is on the stage.
Spoiler alert.
And this
for only Ron DeSantis, because everybody else in the world has seen 8 Mile.
The guy who's punking him, who said stuff about his girl,
Indy, what's the name of the book?
Said stuff about Trailer, who sets this, all this stuff. He made fun of him. He's taller than him. He's got all this stuff that's going on. And he just got up and he says, look, man, here's what you're going to say about me. You're going to say this about me. You're going to say that about me. You're going to say this about me. You're going to say that about me. Even
that's
with
right.
that, this is who I am. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's not my problem. That's your problem. I feel like, when I look at you, you remember the commercial in the 90s with, Gatorade commercial. Sometimes I dream that he is me like Mike. I want to be, remember that whole commercial,
Sure.
right? Okay.
Great, iconic commercial.
Yeah. So we all wanted to be like Mike, except it's tough to do when you're from Iran and your vertical leap is 15 inches. I was not like Mike. I was barely like Mohammed. I couldn't jump if I tried. Jumping wasn't my thing. I was just a fast guy. So for me, when I watch branding wise, I'll say, who does your marketing team try to, position you as? Is it, hey, let's look at the case study of John F. Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy, because Casey, first of all, when we came that day to the mansion, holy moly, she's a rock star.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this. I don't need to tell you this. She's your wife, but she's a rock star. The way she spoke, the way she won us over, the way she would just, very gentle, kind, loved her husband, protective, prime for first lady.
Fuck the free world.
She's got all of that, right?
His name is Clarence.
And then it's like, well, is that the case? And do we position, John, the governor as John F. Kennedy, you're not a playboy. You're not a guy that has that resume. That's not, you're a good guy. When I look at you, you come across as a great father. You're a great husband. That's your brand, right? So when you look at yourself and you're being aspirational, do you see yourself and say, if I see myself as anybody, I see myself as this president. I see myself as that president. And if yes, who would that be?
Ooh, interesting question. So the easy answer is Reagan. Obviously, you want to say, "Oh, I'm Reagan," like that's the Republican, whatever. That's the obvious answer, but that's too easy. You can't. Clarence parents had a real nice marriage. He obviously can't say that he is Reagan because then everybody's gonna be like, "Whoa, Reagan, come on." He obviously can't say that he's Trump because if he's Trump, then why would we not just go with Trump? So he's probably gonna go back. I'm not smart enough to know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Which president does Ron DeSantis see himself as? I need one name before we go on. Somebody save the day. Just put a name. Just put a name. Okay, Zippy says maybe LBJ. Let's see.
Well, I don't think you point to just one because I think that there are unique moments in time and different people have different things. I mean, I think if you
okay, that's fair. When it's as opposed to the other question where what was it a revolutionary or a whatever the two options were, the one that the options before he gave him the flag carrier thing. Then he was like, well, I'm both. I thought he was going to say something like that.
You look a number of presidents. I mean, most recently, of course, Ronald Reagan. I think the aspirational about what it means to be an American, he was able to articulate that way in something that was very, very powerful. I think if you look at some of our founders, including Washington and some of the others,
they
Washington.
Really had the
character, the idea of country above self. Washington could have been the king. He could have, when we won the revolution, he could have installed himself as a monarch, and he chose not to because he surrendered his sword, and then he went back to live on his farm in Virginia, and he eventually got called back to be the first president. But when he...
Can you imagine? Everybody's like, yo, you're the dude. I'm just going to go farming. And then you go, and I mean, I don't know the timeline. How many, what was it? It's got to be at least a year. He's got a home. He's with Martha. He's doing his thing. He's a slave owner, right? He's, he's got, the money coming in and all that stuff. And they're like, bro, seriously? We need you. All right. I'll fix an entire continent. That's awesome. That's just awesome.
He surrendered his sword. George III heard that in England. He said, well, if he did that, he's the greatest man in the world. So just that sense of service above self. I think if you look at my background, I had degrees from Harvard or Yale. I volunteered to serve in the military. I served in Iraq and doing things that I didn't have to do. I made a lot less money, but I believe in this country and I believe wearing the uniform is honorable. So that ethic combined with kind of how Reagan really was aspirational about, because people were saying the same things about America in the 70s, that we were bad, we couldn't do it, we were in decline, and Reagan said no, and he got us on a great run for a while. And I think we've stubbed our toe the last couple of decades as a country, but we had 20 plus years of being a really strong country thanks to his leadership.
Yeah, he was.
There you go. Say your thing, stop, and then let the conversation move on. Because leading people sucks. It's less stressful. Eddie Williams says, I remember it was a cold winter's day when all the people were in the Capitol and wanted Washington to continue to be president. And he said, peacefully protest. And then he said, go home peacefully. And they all got arrested. Hey, shout out to Jay. Oh, what is good? Welcome to the party. It said off topic, but Francis motherfucking Ngannou whooped Tyson Fury. MMA all day. Boxing ain't shit. Get the fuck out of here. I didn't even know that was happening. I just saw Jesse Empire's stream afterwards, and he was just like, bro, oh my god, like I shit on paper, it was impossible, and everything about this guy's life has been impossible. Francis Ngannou, I don't think the channel's quite there, but I think once I have a little bit more goodwill to go kind of off topic and like out of the wheelhouse, I definitely have to do a deep dive on Francis Ngannou, because this is the kind of man that we all should want to model ourselves after. Whether you want to be a fighter, whether you came from shit or not, Francis Ngannou is one hell of a fucking man. It's good, yeah. Ron is a bit, I don't know, ineffectual, messy. I can see his cabinet being a mess. I said, shit, me too.
He was a different animal, the way he did things, personality was. You ever seen Nixon's movie with Anthony Hopkins?
No.
You've never seen it?
No.
Highly recommend you watch it. It's 3.5. First of all, Anthony Hopkins is one of the best. It's a 1995 movie, and Kissinger's in there. If I was ever running, I would love to have that movie, to watch that movie. Of course, I'm sure you've read plenty of the books, but that movie's got so many different things to say. That guy reminds me of this guy from this season. That guy, and I just watched it a few weeks ago. Highly recommend watching this movie, Nixon from 95. It's by Oliver Stone. A must watch. It'll reveal a lot about a lot of different people. Next topic here is Roe v. Wade. Okay. So,
babies, it's the baby.
Supreme Court, 3, Trump flips, right? For you in Florida, this goes from being a purple state, it's about to be a blue state. You come in, you flip, you pick up 2, or I don't know how many you picked up. I think you picked up 1 or 2, right?
1 or 2,
Republican, where it went from being a purple state to a red state, which you were kind of talking about earlier, right?
Well, yeah. Well, that's just because of the movement of the electorate and statewide races. Now in 22,
I was gonna try to wait, but I can't even listen to this. Shout out to Zippy the Strain going hard to Ron's presidency. Ron is leveling paintings in the White House while his cabinet and staff burn down the nation. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. DeSantis says, no, Patrick is more on the spectrum. DeSantis don't think that quick. Interesting. This is gonna be part of the lore of the channel as time goes on. Who's got more tism? PBD or RDS?
we netted an extra 4 members of Congress that were Republican to send to Washington.
Right. So in regards to Roe v. Wade, you're watching this. Red wave doesn't come 2022. Okay. It's going to come. They're going to crush it. It's going to be McCarthy's not going to need Gates. He's not going to need MAGA. He's not going to need any of that stuff. And then numbers come out from Pew Research.
Good job,
61% of Americans, abortion, all this stuff. And I think in April of a year ago or 2 years ago, it was 15 weeks. And then you come out April of this year, I want to say it's 6 weeks. What was your reasoning for wanting to go further right than Trump on that policy?
Well, it had nothing to do with Donald Trump. I mean, it was a question of when are you going to protect life? And the 6 weeks is to mark when there is a detectable heartbeat for the unborn child. So separate heartbeat, separate DNA. That's a life that deserves to be protected. And so the legislature was able to enact protections. Now they did have.
Hold on. I don't want to say anything until I'm sure of what I think I heard.
When are you going to protect life?
Wanting to go further right than Trump on that policy.
Well, it had nothing to do with Donald Trump. I mean, it was a question of when are you going to protect life? And
it's a question of when are you going to protect life? Okay.
The 6 weeks is to mark when there is a detectable heartbeat.
Okay, so the question is, when do we protect life? 6 weeks is there a detectable heartbeat
for the unborn child? So separate heartbeat, separate DNA. That's a life that deserves to be protected.
So you need a separate heartbeat and separate DNA in order to be a life that deserves protection. Not in my book. Not in my book. Now, if we're talking about the politics and the policy of how we want to deal with people who are completely pro-abortion, okay, we're having a different conversation. But you have to be very particular with your words when you're talking about something this, this specific and this high stakes. What you've just said is that without a heartbeat, it is not a life that deserves to be protected. Now, I'm not a Christian. But every Christian should be very disturbed by this line because it is a policy line, not a moral line. He is looking at policy and basing the policy based on what he think would be advantageous, rather than looking at the undeniable perceived, as a Christian, the undeniable point at which all human life deserves to be protected. And we're willing to make concessions because other people don't believe so. And this is going to end up with 9-month abortions. That's a very different thing. You, Ron DeSantis, personally said that we believe that separate heartbeat, separate DNA, that's a life that deserves to be protected. I don't need a heartbeat in order to want to protect a life. All I need is that DNA. I'd be very surprised. I mean, it's very quick. So I don't know how many people are going to pick up on it. But if he doesn't fix this phrasing, somebody is going to get real mad. Zippy said, I think he can think quick. Trouble is, he gets lost down the rabbit hole. Time and place, TMI, help him focus his speaking. Yep. In my book, government does not need to deal with abortion. Just ban government funding of it. I mean, that sounds like a good start, but I don't know if that actually, you're saying you don't want to deal with it at all. Okay. I think that's a fair position, because the problem is that not dealing with that at all leads to dead babies. But that's not, you're specifically saying the government, not we as the people. So fair enough. Context says, somebody named something like Tom Paul would say abortion shouldn't be illegal. It should be unthinkable. Who was that? I remember that line. I don't know who Paul. Tim Paul? Tom Paul? Suzanne said, I think he can be decisive, but his mind is not agile. Sounds about right.
And so the legislature was able to enact protections. Now, they did have exceptions for all the things that people have asked for and that the Democrats have attacked on.
Okay, gotcha.
But at the end of the day,
I was like, Tom Paul?
It's a strong protections for life, and it's something that I've always believed in. You can sit there and talk about the midterms. They ran $30 million in ads against me on this issue. They ran against the Iowa governor, Georgia governor, Ohio governor. We all won overwhelmingly. And that Texas governor won overwhelmingly. So, I don't think that was the reason necessarily that we didn't do as well. It may have been part of it in some of those races, but I think there were other factors. And I think Florida clearly showed that you could get the job done even in the face of those attacks.
Okay. And so, again, if you're saying there's certain factors that allowed you to be better than the rest of the landscape, talk about those.
Yeah, I wonder, because it is look, if you're either pro-life or you're pro-choice, right? I'm a Christian.
You can be pro-abortion. I'm pro-choice, but I'm anti-abortion. For exactly what Zippy is saying. I don't trust the government to make these moral decisions. I understand where my morality stands. Unfortunately, I wish I could trust the government to enact what I believe is moral to that degree, but I don't. That doesn't change how I feel about the action. So it's not that you're either pro-life or you're pro-choice. Just to decide. So he says, with abortions, why are there so many abortions? Government is funding it. Like with gun crime. Oof. Baller.
So you know where I stand, when it comes down to our family. If I'd have 20 kids. My wife would be pregnant every year for the next 20 years, but I'm not the one having the kids. I just wonder strategically, like when you're
like, I want to lay it down.
Making moves like that, there's certain timing to making moves like that. Does that help? Does that hurt? Or that's the right thing to do?
You do
that's
what's
what
right.
We're choosing
you do
to
what's
do.
right, and you let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And I'm curious to know what that's going to happen with you. Do you mind if I ask you a little bit of...
He is moving. He has got an agenda here. And shout out to, I think it was Guamtech, who's saying when Amante Poe pointed out that PBD realized that, DeSantis was getting a little defensive and backed off, and saying like, yeah, he did that on purpose, and he's trying to get the best content out of this, and he's doing a great job.
About people getting to know you a little bit.
Sure.
Meaning, so were you when you work out, what kind of music you listen to? Like who is Governor Ron DeSantis working out to? Are you a Taylor Swift, Biggie,
No.
Tupac? Are you like Creed? What do you listen to?
Mostly classic rock, and then sometimes I'll listen to different country riffs and country tracks. So usually one of those two.
Country riffs and country tracks? What? Does anybody... What you mean you specifically seek out country riffs? Why not just say classic rock and country music? This is not how people talk. This is not how people talk.
Favorite decade for music?
Personally, I gotta say the 2010. I mean, come on, that's just
Probably the 80s.
Yeah, me too. Favorite 80s song?
Oh my.
Smart. Because of course, 80s is an easy answer. Everybody loves the 80s. Everything since the 80s has been a monoculture. So, I mean, yeah, the 90s, hip hop and R&B and stuff was the 90s. So Ron's not going there. Easy answer, the 80s. Quick follow up: favorite 80s song. Interesting. They do that at the country club. Yeah, the Eagles. Yeah. I mean, no, I understand what riffs are, but that's a weird way to answer the question, what do you work out to? Certain country riffs? What? So you have a list of specific riffs, not the whole song, just a riff. Okay. That just sounds like bullshit. I just don't know many people that do that. And the people who do are really, 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 really into music. And I'm just like, oh, this one riff, I cut it out. I put it in Logic and I just cut it out. I just replayed it. I made a 10-hour version of it because I just love it so much. Just saying. It sounds weird. I want to post that I do really hope he talks Ronnie into being sponsored by that shoe company. Ain't gonna happen. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. I don't know about that. Let's see. Can he follow it up? Or is he bullshit?
Decade for music?
Probably the 80s.
Yeah, me too. Favorite 80s song?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's too many to list. It's funny. I was at an event the other day.
I'm going to tell a story so I can buy myself some time and think about a popular 80s song that I can say so that when I answer the question, it's something that people like to want to hear.
And someone's like, hey, since you're Gen X, what's Jenny's phone number? 857
753009.
Yeah. So I was able to do that. And he's like, yeah, I knew you grew up in the 80s as a result of that. So
that has nothing to do with you being a fan of 80s music. I was born 31 days. I am an 80s baby by 31 days. Okay. I know Jenny's phone number. That doesn't mean that I listen to 80s music. I don't know. This is getting into like an area where I am very rabid. I came up in the metal scene, in the local hardcore scene, bands and what bands you like and where that shit is serious business. So if you're fucking around on this shit, don't be a fucking poser, Ron.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff back then.
You and I are 4 weeks apart, by the way. You're a Virgo, I'm a Libra. I was born 4 weeks after you. Favorite documentary of all time? Okay, let's do it. Is it Wedding Crashers?
Okay, never mind.
Crashers, Hangover, Step Brothers, or Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Definitely Wedding Crashers.
What's your favorite?
I mean, of those,
documentary.
I'd probably say Wedding Crasher.
Wedding Crasher?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
How many times have you watched Wedding Crasher?
I'm probably once or twice, but I mean, it was good back in the day. That's got to be 20 years old, right?
Oh my gosh, Vince Vaughn, one of a kind.
Vince Vaughn was at when I was a U.S. congressman, I had Daytona Speedway, so I would do the Daytona 500 every year. So Vince Vaughn was one of the celebrity guests one year, and they put everyone who was a marshal in a pace car. So it was me and my wife in one. Vince Vaughn was in another. I think they had a couple musicians, and I kind of forget who they were. They're notable.
Let's make a poll out of it. Does Ron actually listen to 80s music?
And so we're all going around. You do the first 2 laps to start the race. For whatever reason, our car zoomed ahead of the other pace car. So we're going around the track once, around the track twice. Then you pull in, you go into the infield, and you pull into this parking lot, and there's like a fence, and there's all these fans there that are waiting for the celebrities to come. So they all have their phones out. My wife and I get out. they see our faces, and immediately all their phones go right back into their pocket because no one knew who the heck we were. Then Vince came and everyone's going crazy doing all this other stuff. So that was kind of the one time, I was ever with him. But,
look at the difference. Look at the difference between how he answers, political questions versus him just telling a story about being out, what did he say, a game or whatever. It's so different. And I don't have enough information about the man himself and his voting record and speeches that he's made and things like that. I don't know enough to put my finger on what he's doing. But I know he's doing a thing. He's not just there and just talking. He's doing a thing. Whereas with Vivek, he might be doing a thing, or he might really be that guy. I can't tell. And so if he's doing a thing, he's doing it really well. To the point where I don't really think he's doing a thing. I don't think he's playing a character. Whereas you have two very different Ron DeSantis. And it's stark and it's noticeable. Does just the riffs count as music? Well, yeah, I mean, it counts as music for sure. But I'm just saying that is not the way that somebody who, who said it? I don't know, but somebody said it's the only people talking about riffs are like, yeah, Nick's like, musicians are the only people I ever hear say riffs, but okay, Ron. And so, yeah, if you're a musician, it's like, oh, there's this one riff that, whatever. Of course it's music. I'm not taking issue with the fact that riffs and music go together. But number one, country music doesn't tend to have riffs. It tends to be all chords. It tends to be vocal melody. Now, if you had said classic metal riffs or rock, whatever, but again, it's like saying, what's something we all know? What's something else we all know? So let's say we're online and instead of somebody saying like, oh, they were in the chat, somebody says they were in the top chat. You're like, what? Like, I know what you mean because I'm familiar with the fact that it auto puts you on top chat and you can, but people who are YouTubers don't say, yeah, in the top chat. People don't say that. Is there a top chat? Is that part of the chat? Absolutely. But if somebody asked me what my favorite part of the chat was, I wouldn't say the top chat. That doesn't make sense. And that's essentially what we got here. Well, I work out to certain country riffs. Even if I just say, oh, there's country riffs, countries, instrumentals, somebody else was saying that it could be instrumentals. Yes. But then you're just talking about 4-chord progressions on the guitar. Which, again, not an issue. But I just like listening to instrumental acoustic guitar chords. You're not saying some or certain country riffs. That's not a thing that you're going to say. And he was, oh yeah, I love classical music. I mean, I just listen to violins, but exactly, like that could be a thing. And if you're like balls deep in violin, then like there's songs that that I know that I've listened to since I was a kid that I don't know the words to because I'm a musician and I listen. And when the riff comes along, I do instead of listening to the words. And so I've heard them. I know generally what they are, but I don't know them by heart like I do the guitar part. Exactly. How many country songs do you know that are instrumental? It's usually it's the same 4 chords. That's what country music is. Maybe he's into rock country mashup bands. Cope harder, bro. Cope harder. So he said, he may be thinking of cool riffs of a song or instrumental and confuse the words since he's kind of focused on staying on script. It's overloading his brain. Maybe, but that's a reach. Nick says 80s country, maybe. Otherwise, he's too stiff for music because he tried to tap his foot or bob his head. He would break himself. Oh, man. Oh, no. Yeah, we all hate the top chat. Hey, shout out to Unwanted Foe already. Oh, I got head movement. Let's see. Is he down to clown? Is the rain over? No? All right. Well, for 4 months, we going with a double tap. Come on. There we go. That's for you. You don't want it? Yeah, eat it. Oh, I don't get it. I don't know what he's doing, but they are all right here. Thank you so much, guys. Very, very, very much appreciated. And of course, with that 4 months, we're gonna dive right back in.
He's I think politically is not a lefty like a lot of the Hollywood people are.
No, he's not. He's like, one night this is.
Wait, I forgot who they're talking about.
Were. Then Vince came and everyone's going
right.
crazy, doing all this other stuff. So that was kind of the one time, I was ever with him. But he's I think politically is not a lefty like a lot of the Hollywood people are.
No, he's not. He's like, one night this is 20 years ago. I used to play at Hollywood Park Casino. I would play what do you call it? Poker.
I want it.
And one night I go there, my friend Fernando, who ended up being one of my groomsmen, he's from Ecuador. We go there and they say, hey, there's a main table. Look who's playing there. Who? Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn and this other guy from Christmas Story, I don't know what the guy's name was.
Real quick aside. I had, you guys know that I was really late to the MCU, and I didn't know that it was a thing like that until after Infinity War. And so luckily I got to see Endgame in theaters, but the whole time I didn't know. And so when I thought of Jon Favreau, I'm thinking of, movies like Wedding Crashers, where he's the chubby best friend. And come to find out that he's this amazing writer, director, all that kind of stuff. That was very interesting to be like, wait, John, like happy Jon Favreau? He's behind all of this? Not like all of it, but like, God damn. All right, do your thing, son.
I went and played with these guys. By the way,
Peter Billingsley is the guy from Christmas Story, by the way.
Vince looked like he had just waken up. He got out of bed, and he was doing that movie with Jennifer Aniston at the time. I don't know what the movie was called.
Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston was the breakup.
We played poker till 5 o'clock. He's exactly the way he's one of the funniest guys out there. Sports team. Who's your favorite sports team?
Bucks, Tampa Bay Bucks.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
That's right. I grew up in the Tampa Bay area when they had the orange creamsicle uniforms.
Tampa Bay
I
Bucks.
was there when the old sombrero and how bad those teams were, and won a title 20 years ago, and then with Tom Brady a few years ago. So yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
Ooh.
Probably Rocky.
Which one?
Rocky 1.
First.
Not a deep cut. Again, and that's fair. That's fair. Rocky, no hate there. I'm just saying, like, all of these are just like very basic answers. Like, maybe it's just that, like, hey, he's a busy guy and he's been a busy guy for most of his adulthood. So while I was sitting around doing drugs and watching movies and listening to music, he was out, trying to fix the world. Maybe. But just like the easiest answers, the most widespread mass appeal, like throw in a deep cut, bro. Be like, I know this is going to get me in trouble, but I'm just saying, have you seen, like, what's a good one? Have you seen, what could he use? Like, that would really endear him to people in a way that we wouldn't expect. Like, oh, favorite movie? Requiem for a Dream. We'd be like, yo, that's badass. But no, he's like, oh, Rocky, the first one. Yeah, of course. At least you didn't say Rocky 4. Guamzik says, as we all know, AI doesn't understand music. It just repeats what people have already said they liked. We're figuring things out. So he's saying, you notice any consistency in the TMI and saying too few words? I haven't. What are you noticing? Yeah, I had no idea. Yep. Shout out to you'll shoot your eye out, kid. Peter Billingsley from the Christmas Story was in the first Iron Man and Far From Home. Show your local gunfighter. Support your local gunfighter. Mash Shawshank. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I thought you were. I didn't realize we were still listening. Okay, cool. Word up. Shout out to Peter Billingsley.
First one.
I think so.
Underdog.
Yeah.
You relate to that?
A little bit.
Is that a little bit of your personality?
I think so. I mean, look, I think if you
I'm a loser.
look at where I am now in life, where I started, very few people, they would have taken the under on any of the stuff I've done up to this point. But I do think that hard work and just tension and getting the most out of your God-given ability, I still think in America that matters. May not matter as much as it should, and we need to make it matter more again.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's what makes this country great.
Why do you enjoy politics?
That was a good ending. Punctuate. I think that's what makes our country great. Done. Because what makes our country great is this. And if we don't do what makes our country great, then our country's not as great. And we want our country to be great, because when our country is great, good job. Just.
Oh, man.
Do you enjoy politics was the question.
Why do you enjoy this game? This is a weird game to like.
People sometimes
I like the power.
Ask me, like, why did you first run for office? And I usually why did you run for Congress? And I'm like, momentary lapse in judgment. There's a lot of negative about it. I mean, look, I think in this business, you're able to do things to really have an impact on people's lives. I mean, I will still to this day have people come up to me who I do not know, give me a hug, start crying and saying, you saved my business, or you saved my job,
or you saved my child's genitals. Remember, let's not forget, as much as we are poking fun at his failing campaign, let's not get it twisted. There is a grave amount of respect due to this man. It's just not enough for a vote for president.
Or you saved my kids' education. We brought people back from Israel. My wife and I were waiting at the tarmac, 271 people, 91 children on that flight, giving us big hugs. Thank you so much, all this stuff. So all the day-to-day stuff, the nonsense you deal with, ultimately it doesn't matter. And what matters is, what are you doing to help people and make life better? We've been able to probably have more of an impact on a greater number of people as governor than any governor has been able to in a long time. And that's making the most of it.
Governor DeSantis, how do you sell America? If you were to sell America to me, like when I was at the first debate and the second debate, and I keep listening to so many about policies, everybody's policies. Okay. There's a percentage of America probably relates to the policies, right? But if one asked you, sell me and sell the American people why you think America is the greatest country in the world, what would you say?
Sell me this pen.
Well, at our best, our country is one where it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter your family lineage, that if you work hard, get the most of your God-given ability, if you believe in what this country's principles are, that you can do well. And that has not been true in other countries throughout human history. Wherever you're born, that pretty much limited or not your lot in life. If you had privileged birth, you had higher aspirations. If you didn't, you had lower. Here, you have an open field and a fair chance for your industry and enterprise to ultimately flourish. We're losing that. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for president. But at our best, that's what we are.
I love it.
Okay, fair
Rob,
enough.
can we put the link to the governor's website for anybody who can donate and to his campaign to do so? I've done that. My wife's done that. Our family's done that. And we've supported multiple people in this run. I think it's a very important run that we're having. You're a very formidable opponent that's going on here. The climate is strange. I would have loved to have seen you and Trump run in a different way where it was more unified, but every, game changes, seasons change. We'll
Talk
see
to
what
him
happened
about
there.
that. I mean, that was kind of his.
So
talk to him about that, because I'm not the real guy. I can't control that, but Trump can control that.
So, by the way, if he called for a meeting, would you go visit with him? If he called you and said, hey, you and I have a meeting and figure out a way to unify the Republican Party, would you go to Mar-a-Lago?
Oh, you have to say yes, bro. Come on. Okay, let's game plan then. What would be a possible reason why you would say no? I can't think of anything. He has to say, yes, I'm desperate. And if I'm him, again, I'm looking out and saying, of course. Then, let's say PBD is over here. Of course. I look at camera and I say, look, this is directly to Donald Trump. Both of us want what is best for this country. Now, we may have different ideas about who would be the man to deliver that. But let's sit down behind closed doors, no cameras, just me and you. And let's figure out how we can really make America great again. You don't actually have to do it. You just have to, we just have to see you say that. Say no. Depends on who he is really running for, the people or himself. Well, all right. Let's see the final stretch.
I mean, I'd take a phone call. I don't think I'd make a pilgrimage down there. But the reality is that that's obviously not the course he's choosing. And the
so he's leading the dance, and you're just the woman.
question is what's the best foot forward for the country? It's ultimately not about him. It's ultimately not about me. It's about how do you get this country moving again? Who's the
by collaborating with the other strongest person who wants to move the country forward.
Best vehicle for the Republican Party to put up, to win, and to deliver on all this stuff. And I'm running because I think I am. I think I'm the only guy running who can win the primary, the general, and actually deliver all these things over an 8-year period.
Can you
to where the country in January of 2033, after serving 2 terms, pass the baton off, hopefully to a worthy successor. I'll be able to tell the country we restored the American dream. We secured the border. We strengthened our military, fended off the threat from China. Education, not indoctrination. Parents' rights. No crime in the criminals aren't ruling the streets in the cities anymore. Rein in the deep state and the bureaucracy. All those things, we've got to get them done, and I will do that.
I love it. Once again, respect you for coming out. You said you were going to come out. You did. I appreciate you so much. It means a lot to us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Again, appreciate you for coming out.
All right. Another awesome party. Very, very interesting, guys. We have learned so much. They're 1 hour. That was 59 minutes exactly. 59. Oh, you can't see it, but 59 minutes. 59 minutes. We got 58 of it. And yet there was so much there. We drew that out into almost 3.5 hours because there was so much there. Most people are just watching that. It's going in one ear and going out the other. But we've taken the time to actually break this down and see, oh, okay, this is how things have changed since the last time he's been here. This is how things have changed since the last thing Trump has said. This has changed this is how it's been since the last thing Vivek has said. We're keeping up with the landscape. And this is when it really matters, because it's easy to follow when everything is on TV all the time. And, I mean, as terrible as, the fake news is, when it comes to like the general election and stuff, they're not like going to straight up be lying about who is, speaking on this day and stuff like that. It's more the smaller things where they'll find ways to bullshit and other things like that. But it's these times when the mainstream media is actually focusing on what the candidates are saying, that it's going to depend on how their message has changed, because they came out with, this is what I'm running on. And it slowly morphs over time in such a way that they purposely don't want us to know that it's morphing. They're in real time reacting to, oh, how did you feel about that? Okay, next time we're going to be a little bit more like that, a little bit more like you like it. We're going to say until we get exactly what you want to hear. And if we pay attention all along, we say, but last time you said this, that, and that. But more importantly, I think we're seeing the overall landscape. What is actually happening? Did this move? Was this a Hail Mary attempt from Ron? Was this something that he planned and this is just another thing that he's going to do? We're going to be seeing a lot of this. Is this something that, okay, I got to get in there, people in Florida love PBD. I don't know. What I do know is that this guy, as great as he has been for this country, does not seem like he can be the president. Again, at least not while Trump is around. We did actually finish the video. Shout out to everybody who donated and keep the party rolling. Good stream. Thank you very, very, very much. Said, yes, good stream. Got an early morning tomorrow, so probably won't make the after party tonight. Have fun for me. We will do. Thank you, Soil to Soul. And big love to Soil to Soul. Absolutely. Shout out to Suzanne. And that is right. You guys can click right there. It is free to join the server, but you do have to be a channel member to be part of the after party and get full access to everything. It's a lot of fun. I don't know what to tell you. We're in there 24/7 hanging out. So even if you don't have the money, just join to be part of the conversation. But I definitely think it's worth it. And it is all about building this into something that really has influence, that really we can shape the future of our country. We don't have to sit here and hope that these guys, they do it right. Oh, I hope he asks the right thing. I hope he does the right thing. We can be the ones who dictate what questions are asked, how these people are seen. We can do that. I can do that. I just can't do it alone. And so on that note, a big shout out to our sponsors. We have Indie Film coming in early with the $5 super chat. And then all night, Unwanted Foe has been raging with the blessings. Started out with a $10, then came in with another $2, then came in with another $2, and then on top of all of that, 4 months. What, you want it now? You want it now? You gonna eat it? Hey, he ate it! Yeah! All right, and he's gonna get the rest of these. I will do that on camera in the after party. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I had so much fun with this one. I hope you guys did too. We learned a lot, and I don't know what else to ask for. So thank you once again. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lech, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.